Here at Intoxicated Reviews, we intellectually dissect the art of cinema, scene by scene. Here's some clips.
All he is just a fucking big wooden doll full of cum, chasing kids around.
You look up guys who poop in a bag. Because I think that's where you'll find him. Because he is hurt.
It's probably just in your search history anyway, isn't it? A movie which, by the way, reviewed by my mother, the review was, "Thank God you were on early because we couldn't watch any more of that thing."
You got a wide berth here.
Well, this is a good scene. We're watching the infamous dildo scene.
You got trolled.
You were in, too.
Shut the fuck up. No, I didn't say shit. You got trolled. Corey West just trolled you.
Real script.
They didn't even give him a script when he got the job. They gave him a bottle of Stoli and said, "Learn this."
Did you stumble on the joke?
Talk about this movie for fart's sake.
This is we can swear. This movie fucking blows.
So don't forget to subscribe to Intoxicated Reviews on all places you find podcasts. Except Spotify. We're working on it.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
And welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. If you're brand new to this podcast, this is a drinking podcast that's kind of like a variety talk show. I usually have friends on and we talk about life. Guys, I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with Brandon Michael. This week, I'm keeping up with the comedy theme and I have another stand-up comedian on. We are going from a up-and-comer to someone who's been doing comedy for a long time. This week, I have Andrew Vaughan on the podcast. I gotta say, this episode was amazing. It was so much fucking fun. It is a long episode, so I'm gonna try my fucking best to not yammer on in this intro so we can just get right to it. But I gotta say, I highly enjoyed myself in this episode. Andrew is such a funny dude. Honestly, this is a perfect example of a shoot the shit episode. So we literally just chatted. We talked about comedy, we talked about death, we talked about our love of podcasting, dating or the lack thereof for both of us. It was just such a fucking good time. It's really refreshing to talk to a fellow podcaster. So Andrew is actually 1/3 of the Boys Club podcast. It's a podcast I recently discovered and really highly enjoy. I think it's a very similar vibe to Intoxicated, very conversational and chatty, and that's what I like. So Andrew Vaughan is another product of my Instagram stalking, and I'm so happy it worked out and that he came over and came on the show. I think it's safe to say that Andrew and I are now friends, and he'll be back on, people, for sure. If not to just shoot the shit, but maybe to talk some Third Eye Blind. I discovered that Andrew and I are both really big Third Eye Blind fans, so that's pretty fucking cool. So this is such a good episode. I hope you guys like it. Andrew is actually going to be one of the guests on our live stream that we're doing on Saturday. So that's Saturday, September 8th from 12 p.m. to midnight. That's Atlantic time here in Canada. He will be coming on around 3 p.m. along with another member of the Boys Club, Travis Lindsay. So definitely check out the Boys Club podcast. It's amazing. You can find it wherever you find podcasts. Make sure you do subscribe to them and check out the show. And for anyone in the Halifax area, Andrew is co-hosting a show on September 10th at Gus's Pub, which he regularly does, but this is a special one because it is their 5-year anniversary show. So that's pretty fucking cool. If you are in Halifax, certainly check out that show. It does start at 8 p.m. and it is pay what you can. And you should pay a good amount because they deserve it. So I'm going to be just really quick here with the plugs. Make sure to check out our Patreon page. That is patreon.com/intoxicated. Thank you to all of our current Patreons. You guys are amazing. Follow us on social media. That is Facebook and Instagram, Intoxicated Podcast, on Twitter at @in_toxicated. And do subscribe to our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel. Both are just Intoxicated. I will link below to those. So far as my computer can handle it, I am going to try my very best to stream at the same time on both those platforms. That said, whenever I've been running test streams lately, my computer sounds like a rocket about to launch off into space, and it doesn't sound good. So I'm trying to do my best with what I have. Unfortunately, I'm not yet financially at the point where I can drop money on a new computer, but that is next on my list. I am so very excited, you guys, for the live stream. We're going to have a Caesar demo from Compass Distillers, which is a local distillery here in Halifax that I love so much. They're going to teach us how to make an awesome Caesar. They are up for Best Caesar in the Coast Best of Halifax Awards, so that's pretty fucking cool. Corey, of course, is going to be there. We're going to do a live trailer trashed episode. Intoxicated regular Shannon will be on with me. Travis Lindsay and Andrew Vaughan, of course, are going to be on at 3 o'clock, popping by, and you won't want to miss that. Returning guest Harper McCormick is also going to be on. We are actually going to do a Tinder consultation. We have someone coming on that is allowing us to essentially give him advice on his Tinder profile. That's going to be real interesting. And even more interesting is the fact that I'm going on a live first date. Around 9:30 p.m. on the live stream, I'm going on a date with Mr. Dan Hendricken, who is the third component of the Boys Club podcast. So you're going to get all 3 Boys Club members one way or another on Saturday. It's going to be really exciting. So please tune in and go on the chat and talk to me because I'm going to need it. Holy shit, I don't know how I'm going to do 12 hours, but I'm hoping it will all work out. So this will be the second last episode that we're putting out before the voting closes for the Coast, and that's the Best of Halifax Reader's Choice Awards. I've been saying this every week for a while now. We would love a vote for Best Podcast. We know we are still small. We have no chance of getting, first or second place, but third would be amazing. We're going for third, so please cast your vote. We would probably lose our minds if we got in the top 3. Anyways, I'm shutting up. I've already gone longer than I said I would. I hope you guys enjoy this fucking awesome episode with Andrew Vaughan. Welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast, everybody. We are here. I don't know why I'm talking like a game show announcer. Come on down! We are here with Andrew Vaughan.
Hey.
Welcome to Intoxicated, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
My Instagram stalking
has paid off.
Yeah.
My Instagram stalking never pays off, except now I'm not allowed to see what Taylor Swift is doing.
Oh my God. Well, so I watched the roast of Dan today, and it came out that you love Taylor Swift.
I thought 1989 was a dope album. I just thought it was really good. I mean, to be fair, I really enjoyed her latest release.
Reputation?
I haven't gotten into anything on it, but I like the thing is I fucking hate pop music when I was growing up. Like pop music is like you're young, you're like fuck this corporate bullshit. But the older you get, you're like, this is kind of a fun tune. Like this is nice. I can kind of just jam to this. And so when I started hearing shit coming out from Taylor Swift, initially my reaction was, oh, that's the woman that just writes all these songs about her ex-boyfriends, right?
Yeah.
And then the stuff started coming out from 1989. I'm like, this is fucking catchy. Mm-hmm. The next thing I know, there's 4 singles, and I'm like, these are all really good singles.
It's good songs.
And then a buddy of mine who I would never have pegged, he was like, yeah, man, it's a good album. It's a good pop album. I had to go to Taz Records and buy it on vinyl, which was I felt so I always get judged when I'm in Taz Records, because I mostly buy hip hop records and shit anyway. And I'm asking about y'all got the Ghetto Boys, and they're like, no, but we get this, indie folk, blah blah blah. But the fact that I'm walking up with a DMX record and a Taylor Swift, and it's just says a lot about me as a person.
I love when people admit that they like Taylor Swift because she's fucking fantastic.
Other fun, catchy songs. Just don't take yourself so seriously. Enjoy them.
I saw her live in concert.
I would go see her live in concert. There's a clip online. Oh my God, did you ever just see this clip? It's fucking Taylor Swift and J-Lo doing Jenny from the Block together.
Yes, because she brings celebrities up.
It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest live concert things I think I've ever seen.
It's unreal. She did. I love that she brings people like surprise guests.
Yeah.
She had Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Adams, I said that wrong. Bryan Adams?
Yeah, Canadian Bryan Adams.
Summer 69.
Yeah.
And they did that song. And she's like, this is one of my favorite songs of all time, and I'm getting to sing it with
perfect.
With him.
Yeah.
It's just what? Just to be her.
Just to
be her for a day.
I think people take their musical likes way too seriously. Thank you. It's I love hip hop, but I'm I don't care if it sounds good. Like, there's country music I like. Like, I've never understood that aspect. Like, people are like, country music fucking sucks. And it's like, yeah, a lot of it sucks.
Right.
But there's so much good country music out there.
There's good stuff out there.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. You just gotta, and who cares? I feel like if you're a music lover, like, you can appreciate all genres.
Yeah, well, that's why 35 to me is a sweet age, because you're not old enough to be old, but you're old enough to nobody care about what you're into anymore. So if you want to drive down the road listening to Taylor Swift, they're like, look at that sad motherfucker going to work. Like, they don't care. Like, they're like, teenagers are like, that they have no interest in you, and 20-year-olds have no interest in you, so you just do your own thing.
You just do your thing. Yeah. I'm getting there, I think. I'm 31.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
30 was a big year I found. 35 was a big year. I think 40 will be like, I think it's every 5 years from that point. You're just like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And if I make it to...
You'll make it.
We'll see. That's the big joke. Everyone's got a fucking date on when it's going to happen.
Oh, my God. Like, when you'll die?
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping to win the bet. I'm going to take myself out. Just rig the game. Rig the game. Make enough money to cover the funeral costs.
If you could choose, other than suicide, if you could choose how to go out.
That's an interesting question, because we've just been talking a lot about how you would kill yourself lately.
Oh, my God.
About, like, how you would go natural. In my sleep, if it was a natural thing, obviously you want to go in your sleep, less pain, right? Like...
But how do you just die in your sleep? Is it just you just?
Well, that's the thing, right? Probably most of the time now it's in the hospital, which means you probably did go through a lot of pain before that moment happens. Like,
God, that's so scary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Death freaks me out.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't for me anymore. Like,
really?
I don't know. Like, I'm an atheist, and I don't believe in like God or an afterlife or anything like that. And I find that kind of reassuring, kind of pleasing. Like,
right.
Like, there's this in university I watched this film, this foreign film, won like Best Picture, I think, for Best Foreign Film when it came out. It's called Antonia's Line, and it's about this whole family of women, like generations of women, and just how like strong through perseverance these like generations of women are. And when one of the characters dies in it, the one woman is explaining to her granddaughter, like, she goes, well, is he going to another place? And she said, no, this is the only dance that we dance. Aww. And I just thought that was such a beautiful way to look at life. And then they kind of like, they show that like he dies and the grass keeps growing and the trees keep growing and the sun comes up. I think there's something fucking really beautiful about the fact that we just die and the world just keeps on going.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, beautiful or terrifying.
I don't know. To me, it just means it's like, I don't know why. I just always look at it like it's great to know that when you're gone in 20 years, things just keep happening.
I want to get there.
Yeah.
It's like, I really want to get to where you are, because I'm absolutely terrified and I think about death to an obsessive degree.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, and I don't know if it's like me, because I don't know if I'm an atheist, but I definitely don't believe, like, I grew up Catholic and I was like, fuck this shit. This shit is fucking stupid. Like, I was the first of my sisters to stop going to church.
Yeah.
Grew up in a pretty Catholic family. So I don't know what it, like, I don't know if I'm just seeking spirituality at this point in my life or what. Yeah. But death freaks me out so much.
No, I get it. I mean, it's never easy to be around. Like, I mean, I went to, like, even though I'm trying to like take like a calm, collected approach, I remember like this year, the stupidest of weird things, like my mechanic died this year. And it was like, I never felt like we were super, super close, but I just thought he was a really cool guy. This guy I did like his book work for, and he would do like work on my car, and like we just sort of like even it out, like, so it's never really money exchange type of shit. Yeah. And like I have flat tires, call him up, he'll come like fucking fix them, or like if there's a problem with, like, he just always helpful, right?
Right.
And I guess he did this for a lot of people like in the community and stuff like that. And when he died, I was like, you know, I've had grandparents die and shit like that, but I was kind of like, it was like one of those first like adult,
kind of like a friend.
Kind of like a friend, like not a family member, but a friend. And then you just like the stupid things, like, because like here I am thinking about like like not even thinking about what his family must be going through, but I'm just also thinking like, oh, I'll never see so and so again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's that weird,
an odd, consistent part of your life.
Yeah,
And now he's gone.
yeah. And you're just like, and he was always so funny. And so like, I bought Run DMCC covers for my van once, and he was just like laughing his ass off about. He's like, I gotta get me a pair. Where did you find those? Like just shit like that. That you're just like, I'll never have those moments again. You know what I mean? Like
so crazy.
Yeah. So that part is why death, I think, is scary. Right. Like.
Yeah, and I'm just convinced I'm gonna get hit by a car.
Oh well,
because walking around the city, I'm just like,
oh well, it's in Halifax. It's yeah, I might be the one that hit you. I'm not not on purpose. It's just like I'm a driver. I fuck up all the time. I tried to run a friend down on I was jokingly gonna try to run. It was actually around the corner here at Mumford.
Oh, Death Alley.
He just got a motorbike. And he drove right past me. Sort of like that scene in Pulp Fiction where they see fucking Marcellus Wallace walk in front of the car. And then you realize, oh shit, right? So I was like, I'm going to fucking take this right turn and like freak him out.
Oh my God.
Almost hit a pedestrian who was trying to cross in front of me. And I'm like,
see?
Sorry.
It's people like you that make me so scared of dying. But I just have this weird fear of that. Somehow I'm gonna die either by being hit by a car or in a car accident.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like I'll be walking down the street and I'm just like, I'm gonna get plowed into. I'm gonna get some guy's gonna drive, because that's what people are doing now. They're driving cars into fucking sidewalks.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And in this city, it's like you can't go a day or two without hearing somebody hit
Right.
like trying to cross a road where they're supposed to fucking cross it.
Yep. and I'm like, even if I'm just like at a marked crosswalk, it's not enough for me.
No.
Like I would rather go up to lights or something because
Yeah.
I feel
Oh, yeah.
slightly more safe.
Totally.
It's fucking ridiculous. Ugh.
So I don't think it's irrational. I think
I think it's irrational, the specifics of my fears, because
but you're not alone at all. That's the thing. Like there's so
true.
many people out there that like not just the hit the car thing, but like that are just like, what is death? What is what is the end? Is it fast and painful, or does it drag on? Like,
because for me it just blows my mind that like, I mean, like you hear about like all these fucking random shootings and shit, and it's just like, you know, especially this one that happened in Fredericton. It's like, I'm in an apartment complex right now where it's like, you know, there's two buildings. It's kind of like a, you know, like a U shape. There's like a walkway.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy fucking shit. These people were just walking outside and they got shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know the details of all that, but somebody told me who lives in New Brunswick that like the guy who shot the two, that it was his ex-girlfriend and her new lover.
I was wondering if there was a connection.
And then the cops showed up to be like, what the fuck's going on? And he shot the cops.
See, I didn't know that.
I mean,
detail.
I don't know if that's true. It's just what I heard this. I went to a gay wedding in New Brunswick last week. I just like saying it was a gay wedding. There's no point for me to point out that it was a gay wedding.
Guys?
Yeah, two dudes.
Amazing.
And so like, there were people there that were from Fredericton that were kind of like saying, we heard it was a couple, and like, you know,
See, because when I heard it happen, I was just kind of like, I wonder if there was a connection. Not that makes it any less scary.
No, I mean, it's still like,
trying to be nice to everybody, you know?
Even your exes, apparently. And that's the hardest part.
Or maybe like,
or you can just be like me, don't date or fuck anybody, and then you don't have to worry about nobody coming to shoot you.
Ding ding! I didn't explain the bell yet.
Oh no! I grew up. I fucking listened to Opie and Anthony for years. I thought the bell was when I was going to say something super inappropriate, and you're going to be like,
it's like
enough.
Three strikes and you're kicked out.
Yeah.
No, the bell is like a I agree, or like if someone makes a really good joke.
Yeah, okay,
you can
okay,
ding
good.
it. So this might be a ding heavy episode.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because we're here with I'm burying the fucking lead. We just went straight into death. I was Andrew Vaughan is here. Death.
Plus, I'm a rambling motherfucker who likes talking and likes listening to himself talk, so I'll probably.
That's why I started a podcast.
Yeah.
Someone told me
I listen to every single episode of our podcast after it's put out because I'm just like, I like listening to it. The other co-hosts are like, you listen to that shit? I'm like, yeah, man. I did a podcast with a comic in New Brunswick. His name's Mark Sploot. I've listened, I think, 3 times, and it's just me and him talking.
Oh my god!
Why the fuck what an egomaniac I am that I got to listen to his interview with me for 3 times.
No, I don't think that's it. You know, okay. I have a theory about this. But we're probably narcissists.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Yeah,
I think anyone who starts podcasts is kind of a little bit narcissistic.
I think anybody that does something creatively is a little bit of a narcissist.
Of course, yeah, because it's like you're creating content based on you.
Yeah,
and you're trying to make people like it.
I've always, not to interrupt, I've always one thing I fucking hate is when someone says, oh, you got the balls to do comedy. Oh, you got the balls to get on stage. It has nothing to do with balls. Everything to do with narcissism and stupidity. It's seriously, we're too stupid to know better, and we're fucking so narcissist that we need that validation. Right. It has nothing to do with balls. It's absolutely not. At least that's how I feel. But so many people want to make it seem like it was this courageous leap to put a foot on stage. Fuck off, man. Courageous is signing up for the government's fucking war machine and going across seas. What I do is not courageous at all.
Did you get nervous though?
Not anymore. No. I've been doing it long enough that it's like, I mean, I do, but different kinds of nervousness.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. And I don't know where the mind frame comes. Mind frame?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a word. I don't know where the frame of mind comes from when people are like, okay, I'm going to actually get up there and do an open mic. Like, because I have jokes on my fucking phone. Yeah. But like, I would never get up and say them on stage.
Yeah, I mean,
a stage, you know.
Yeah, it's like it depends. Like for me, it's like I always explain to people like I can trace like my love of comedy back to like 4 or 5 years old. Like
really,
I can tell you the first comedy special I ever heard and how they made me feel. Like and just but like my whole life, I never really. It's always been there, you know what I mean? Like, and it's never been like something I've ever even thought about until when I thought about it, and then I started doing it, and everything made sense.
Right.
I think a lot of people, especially me, and I see this a lot in comedy, and unfortunately with people that aren't funny, is that a lot of people are searching for something that gives their life a sense of importance.
Yeah.
And for me, it was comedy. Once I started doing comedy regularly, everything just fell into place. Cooking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that think that comedy is going to do that for them, and unfortunately, it's like this. Sorry, man, this is another. I want to go up to them and be like, "You're a nice person, but this is just another one of your failed." You know what I mean? Like.
So, do you think it's something that can be fixed? So, like, when you see someone like not doing great, or something. Do you think it's something like where you could give them feedback and maybe help them?
It's twofold. It's twofold because I can see somebody that's doing new in comedy and not doing very well, but I can go, oh, there's potential. Mm-hmm. I go,
I'm going to see something.
Once they figure it out and they figure out how to start writing jokes, something will work out.
Right.
But there's some people, man, that I can be, the minute you meet them, you're just like, it's never going to work.
Right.
It's just not. It's not clicking, you know, like.
Because you have to be so quick.
I mean, that comes with time, I find. Like, being able to be snappy and funny.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are probably like, well, you got a comic on the podcast. He hasn't been that funny already.
No. In fact, I just think comedians are good talkers. Mm-hmm. And that's what draws me to them.
Yeah.
They know how to fucking talk and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's lacking these days.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd rather have a conversation with anybody in person.
Right?
Like
so much better.
Yeah, it's so much better. And the nuances.
How do you do it?
Yeah. So many the thing I find hilarious is like you hear this all the time in articles, and I get that. And me and Travis have talked about it a lot on our podcast, and just like about how everybody's like okay, perfect example. I don't know if you know this. There's a comedy club in New York called The Creek and the Cave, and the Legion of Skanks. Do you know who they are? Yeah. So they do their podcast from The Creek and the Cave.
Okay.
And there was a guy in the audience who's wearing a Proud Boy hat, and somebody got up in the and grabbed one of the podcast microphones and was like, "How dare you like let a Proud?" And they're like, "We didn't even know what the fucking Proud Boys were." Like you know like this guy's wearing a hat in the audience. Like we're not even thinking about it. So like they're calling for like them to boycott this comedy club and shut down this comedy club. And like if you listen to the Legion of Skanks, they have a character called Hate Speech the Bear, which is like a teddy bear that says hateful racist shit. But like it's a show with 2 Jews and a Puerto Rican. It's meant to be edgy. It's meant to be like, and if you go into it going, there's shit they say on there sometimes that I'm like, ugh.
Right.
But I don't hold it against them. I don't have any thoughts, like, because I know what they're doing, right? But these people, they invited this guy who had a problem with them to come on the podcast and talk about it, and he was like, well, no, I won't sit down with anybody that that has these opinions and like blah blah blah. But to me, it's like, you got to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. If you're not willing to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, then you need to shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to have an offended opinion.
Oh my
You're just not.
That's a ding.
Yeah, you're not. Like, there's a Netflix documentary about this black guy. His name's Daryl Davis, I believe, who goes to KKK like organizations and talks with people in the KKK, and he's converted several head leaders of groups of KKK people out of the KKK.
Whoa.
Because he sat down with them and they realized all this shit I've been told about black people all my life isn't true.
Right.
And I didn't know that because I wasn't willing to sit down and have a conversation with an actual black person.
And people are too quick to just be like, you're wrong. Fuck you.
So much easier on the internet to fight.
Sit down and talk.
So much easier on the internet to fight. You get two human beings in front of each other and realize that person gets up in the morning and has to go to work and pay his rent just the same way as you do. It's a lot harder to fight with that person.
So
yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Oh
And that's the part of the world that I hate. That's the part of the
Right.
world I'm getting tired of, isn't getting older like this.
Yeah.
Everybody is this and everybody's going to say something stupid. Everybody's going to make a mistake and fuck up.
And it's this world of like, people will be doing well, and then someone will go like years and years and years back and find one comment they made years and years and years ago, and they will bring it back up and try to like ruin their career.
Yeah.
Like, I'll use the example of Shane Dawson, who's a YouTuber.
I know about that one.
And like, they found a clip
Most
of
recently
him.
with the James Gunn stuff too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they found a clip of him saying something. He made a pedophile joke or something, and I don't remember what it was. But then the next day it was Shane Dawson is a pedophile.
Yeah.
And he's
It's not
just
that
like,
way.
What?
Like-
Not a pedophile. Like, fucking calm down.
Well, people don't understand. What drives me nuts is like, you guys do realize like a pedophile is not going to draw any attention to himself. Like, a pedophile isn't sitting going like, the best way for me to hide in public is to openly admit I'm a pedophile. My God, why hasn't anyone tried this strategy before? Like no, like it's not a fucking thing that happens, people. Man, that's the thing I would say to other people too. It's like, I've alluded to it a couple times in this podcast that, me and some other comics do a podcast.
The Boys Club.
The Boys Club podcast. Here's my thing. If you're listening out there and you want to check it out, no going into it, you're going to hear some fucked up shit. Mm-hmm. You might not like some of it. You might like some of it. But I'm allowing you into a room with a bunch of comics. Mm-hmm. And you better be cool. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to be cool, you can leave. You can just leave. That's it. Mm-hmm. And
I've listened and I really, really fucking love it.
Yeah. Like, to me, it's like, we push the line all the time.
But that's what good comics do.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's what it's about.
And it's about growing. I mean, like, especially me at podcasts, I don't know how you held anything that anybody says on a podcast against them. Because we're not planning this out.
No.
You didn't write 20 questions and submit it to me beforehand, and then I wrote 20 answers hoping that, like... So, I don't know. You might say something, and then I might think, this is funny. I'll throw it in, and it might fucking bomb. But, like, that's the whole point, right? Like, you can't hold that against somebody.
And I got over that pretty early. Like, I'm, in the 70s now for episodes. Yeah. And, like, I know, like, around episode 9, I started being like... Ooh, I don't know about this. Yeah. And then I realized, and I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of podcasters starting out might feel this way. Sometimes it just feels like you're just kind of talking into a void. And you don't really know if people are listening. Yeah. Are they hearing me? Like, you made jokes in the show about like having 30 listeners.
Yeah. Because like we used to do a thing where we would check the feed burner statistics every week.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh shit, we're down 5. Oh, we're up 7. Like why'd the 5 leave? Like, and we've had consistently just one on Google Play. Like, it's like everyone else is like, fuck, I'm not like, there's one dude who's like, I ain't getting anything else. I'm going right to Google Play. That's where I want to hear it. Like,
can you see where they're coming from?
Yeah, you can see like
country wise.
You can on FeedBurner, like a lot of the stuff I see. There's a couple that are from overseas, which I'm clearly sure are not listening at all. Like, I think it's just like
it's like a bot or something.
It's a bot, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, like, it's mostly Halifax, New Brunswick.
Yeah, same.
That are kind of listening.
Yeah. I have an odd number of U.S. listeners, oddly enough. But our first Patreon was someone from the States.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck?
Yeah, right. Like you're like,
fuck
how the
did you
fuck?
find
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Like, what the hell? But hey, Tyler, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
But
I'll take fans anywhere I can get them. Fuck
you
it.
guys should get a Patreon.
Well, I mean, it's maybe down the road. Like, I'm been really happy with how the podcast has been. Like, I've, before I did this podcast with Travis and Dan, I used to do my own. It was called like my comedy week, and it was like, and I was gonna try to have a comic on every week. We talk about what we did that week, and like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I got really I found it hard to ask people to be on all the time.
It is really tough.
And then the worst thing with rotating guests is sometimes you have really good episodes. And sometimes you have episodes you got to release because you got to release an episode, but you don't feel very confident in that episode. Right?
I feel that so hard.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an advantage that you might have now where you have co-hosts.
Yeah, well, like like Dan is on and off on the podcast because he's got a busy life.
Up with him?
Well, sometimes he's busy, sometimes he's at the lake, which I found out the other day.
I heard that. I gotta go to the lake.
Oh my God, it was the greatest because we used to record the podcast every Sunday before an open mic, and then we would all get together, record the podcast, and we go to the open mic. And when Dan originally agreed to do the podcast, he said, let's record multiple episodes a night, which I wasn't a big fan of because then if something current happens, it's like...
Yeah.
And even though we stop an episode and we start recording an episode, we're referencing shit that happened in the other episode because it just happened 10 minutes ago to us. Like, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But we were doing Sundays, and then Dan goes, Sundays don't work for... Like, well, it was funny because the other night he came up, he's like, who the fuck decided we were going to record on a Tuesday at 7 anyway? And my memory's shit, right? But Travis goes, actually, we were used to record on a Sunday, and then you said Sundays didn't work for you. So we asked when was a better day, and you said Tuesday, and then we said, would 7 be okay? And you're like, perfect. That gives me enough time to get off work, have supper, and so literally the scheduling was all his. But now he's like, who the fuck chose Tuesday on a 7?
So is Dan the diva of the group?
No. He's just, man, I had such a fuck. I like, last night I was like drunk as shit and I had a couple weed cookies in me, which is probably where I'll get to tonight. And
Perfect.
Fucking Dan called me. Like, no one calls anybody anymore. And I get a phone call at 12 o'clock at night from Dan. I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on?
Who died?
We talked for 2 hours. He's literally in the same city. We just
nice,
sat there on the phone talking for 2 hours. And I was like, this is nice. This was very nice.
It's an art that needs to come back to the phone conversations.
Yeah.
Because you think going into it, this is going to be awkward and what the fuck? Who talks on the phone? But like some of the best convos you have are on the phone. Yeah. And then you realize you look at your phone, you're like, holy shit, that was a 3-hour conversation.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
I think with our podcast, when it comes to Dan, it's like Dan's, and especially with this comedy on stage, Dan's very interested in being silly and being fun, which is great. I love when he's on the podcast because he brings a level of silliness and fun to it. And I laugh my ass off every time he's there, right? But me and Travis also want to tackle serious shit.
I love it.
And we also want to say, what's going on in the comedy scene? What's going on in the comedy news? What's going on in the world? Did you hear this thing? Is it this? And like once in a while, Travis will do a segment called like where he's like brings up in the Church of Common Sense, he calls it, where he just fucking rants about how people need to smarten the fuck up. And I think Dan doesn't want to do that sometimes.
Right.
Like we've gotten into conversations before where Dan will just sit there. And so we just joke about like, you want to interject. He's like, no, you guys are digging your own grave. I'll just fucking
sit back and
sit back. He's like, I don't want to be a part of some letter writing campaign or some shit.
Man. It was so funny because I don't think any of the episodes I've heard have had him on it yet.
Well, we've done 26. He's been a part of 11, so it's not hard to miss him.
I'll have to go back and dig because I need to have Dan on too, and I want to have Travis on too. I want to have y'all on.
Yeah, he had a work thing tonight. That's why he couldn't make it.
I want to get to know all of y'all.
Oh no, man! Like
all of y'all.
I was like, I just was happy. Like I was like, I love doing podcasts. I love talking about comedy. And or just talking to people. And when you and we had that post made, I didn't see I was tagged in it because like we weren't following each other, or you were following Boys Club Podcast but not like my own Instagram. Right. And then Brandon Michael, who I think you did an episode with, he pointed it out to me, and then I got a hold of you, and like Travis really wanted to be a part of it, but he's in New Brunswick doing gigs this week. So
you'll be on soon.
Definitely
Travis.
have him on. He's recording an album soon, so
Amazing.
like, so yeah, like
I'm so down, and I dig the vibe of the show. I think it's fucking great.
we just
Those are
have
the types
fun.
of pods that I love listening to.
Yeah, like a lot of people, like I have friends who are like, why would I listen to a podcast with no aim or no goal and just kind of talking? I'm like, to me, those are the podcasts I like the most. Like,
Me too.
Like,
It's more human.
yeah, because to me, I love talk radio, and like, unless you're working for like there's a radio station out of Toronto that I've been listening to for years called News Talk 1010, and like they're very regimented in the fact that like they got to have breaks. They got to get their sponsors in, and they got to talk about the news topics. And I like that to a degree. But I also like I think I told you earlier, like I listened to Opie and Anthony for years, and it's just two hosts and Jim Norton, and then comic guests on.
Love it.
And you never know, they could spend 2 hours talking about what they did the day before, or they could spend 2 hours talking about what the president did last night. Like that's to me what I like.
Ding, and me too, because I like to have silly episodes where it's fun and funny, but like I also like to go fucking deep and serious.
Yeah,
and I love that contrast. Like I kind of love that it's like, here's an episode about the Me Too movement, and then here's an episode about blowjobs.
Well, yeah, like I love, like I think it was the other week with me and Travis, like I think we talked about stuff like the James Gunn firing and all that stuff. And I know we've talked about the Nanette comedy special quite a bit lately. And then we make up this fictional character of Helen Keller being a crime fighter called Wolf Bitch. Like because apparently in our world she's raised by wolves, and that's how she becomes a superhero.
I love it.
So it's like, it's fun to me to have those. Like, obviously you want laughs to be there, and you want silly shit to be in there, so the audience isn't like, oh, this is a bunch of guys taking themselves very fucking seriously,
right?
But that is, to me, I'm interested in also having the conversation about the serious shit. Yeah,
and and I think you're really lucky that you have a co-host that you can just sit down and have banter with. I'm very jealous of that, because for me it's like I rely on having people on, and it's a weird process because like sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this subject. Yeah. I need to find someone who knows about this subject. Yeah. But most times I'm like, okay, no, I got to shift it. I got to start looking at personalities that would be good and figure out what can you talk about? Because like if I just have one main topic, one or two I think is good. Then whatever, the rest is fucking whatever. I usually
jot down a couple notes on a pad of paper.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we get to it, we get to it. If we don't, we don't.
Exactly.
It's like,
I like that so much better.
Yeah.
It's way more chill.
And that being said, like I came up with this new podcast I'm going to start doing. It's going to take a while before I'm ready to do it, because there's going to be video element involved, which is like,
I have a green screen behind you, so I'm investigating that myself.
It's called the Make Andrew a Man podcast. And I'm going to have a guest on every week who's going to teach me how to do something manly that I should know how to do, that I don't know how to do.
Oh my gosh.
And the best part is half of the guests are dead. Like I want to do 12 episodes, write them out, plan them out. And 6 of those episodes are guaranteed to be female guests on the show. Because I don't want it to seem like, I'm saying like something about masculinity and being like it's only men. I think it's hilarious that a woman teaches me how to change the oil to my car, and I don't mean hilarious in the sense like, isn't it funny that girls know this? I just mean like it shows that I'm not saying masculinity has anything to do with the fact that it's a man teaching me a man thing. It's saying that these are the traditional things that like you think your parents teach you when you're growing up, and you think like so. This is something, it's an idea I had, and I want to like, I
love it,
do video with it, like, but I want it to be an audio and video podcast. Like, I want there to be an audio portion, but then I want you to redirect to a place where you have to watch the video segments of me doing the thing.
That sounds amazing.
That
sounds I actually don't know shit about manly stuff, but that's
but like all sorts of shit, like hunting, fishing, car repair, even dating. Like I don't date. I don't date, right? So it's like,
let's get into that. You don't date?
Nah, man. I haven't been with a woman in like 15 years, and I haven't been on a date in like a long ass time. I just like, I'm older. It doesn't bother me anymore.
I feel like with people when they don't date, like it just becomes a normal. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the thing was, I spent so many years of my life thinking that was such an important thing that you had to have in your life, is like a companion. And don't get me wrong, I there are a lot of things that I miss out on because I'm not, dating anybody. But I realize like that's not where you need to find your happiness.
So true.
It's from
You
like
can't rely on other people. Other people can fuck off.
Yeah. And like, there's like a whole litany of reasons why like shit's been weird. But like also too, like I'm 35. I know other guys that have had a hard time dating, and then for some reason 35 seems to be the magical number, and then everything just sort of takes off from there. I know like 5 or 6 dudes throughout my entire life that like were I don't want to say awful with women because it makes us sound like we're like really shitty to women. I just mean like awful knowing how to talk to women. And then 35 for some reason just seemed to fix everything.
I mean, I think that's an ideal, like when I'm 31 and when I'm thinking about like the ideal age to date, that would be the ideal.
Well, the another thing for me is like, I'm pretty staunch about like the fact that I don't want kids. Like, so like if I'm dating a girl who's my age, trying to find one that's cool without having a family or having a kids is like, it's a little hard to do, you know?
Probably not though.
Oh yeah?
So I feel like it's the new trendy thing to not want kids. Like, I mean, I have a lot of friends who were all just like, fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is something that's tricky because if you're really stern on that and you don't want them, like when do you bring that up? Like, do you go on a couple dates?
Well, that's the thing. You know what I mean?
Or like, how do you do that?
And I used to think it was just basically I used to tell people it's because I'm too selfish. Like I care too much about myself to like turn all that off and focus on.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Like my cat died in October, and like I've been like I can't even look at pictures of other cats without like feeling like I miss my fucking cat. Like so, like to me, it's just like I live a weird. Everyone's like, get another cat. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Like, there's a part of me that misses having a cat, but there's another part of me that like. If there are days where I'm like, shit, it's 6 o'clock and I've been home all day, I got to get home, spend time with the cat, make sure that she's like, cool, that I don't have that in my life anymore. So there's a part of me that's like,
it makes me want to cry. I do have a cat.
I had this cat for like 15, 16 years. I love this cat to death. And yeah, this was a great ass cat.
Hard.
Yeah, man. It was like,
I can't imagine.
When I woke up one morning and she was like, I'm so used to her being like right there when I wake up. I'm sorry if I'm making this too depressing. You can tell me to.
Tissues there for a reason.
But so she wasn't in my bed, and like I was petting on the like, and she didn't come, and I'm like, it's kind of fucking weird. I know she was alive, but she wasn't moving around that much. Then my mom comes over. I call my mom. My mom comes over, and my mom starts going, I think any moment, man, I think she's gonna be done. And then my mom puts like a blanket over her, like a towel, and my mom goes, yeah, I think she died. And I'm like, Mom, I guess her eyes are open and she's still breathing.
What the fuck? Wait, she put a blanket over the cat?
I'm like, literally, I could see her chest moving up and down. Like she's not, Mom's like, I don't know. I think, I'm like, are you trying to kill her before she's dead? Like I'm like, fuck off. So then my mom was like, well, what do you want to do? You want to wait till she dies or you want to take her to the vet? And I was like, well, let's take her to the vet, see what the vet says at least, right? Like,
just get it checked out.
So we took her to the vet, and the vet was like, we were there 2 weeks ago before, because she'd lost a ton of weight, and I couldn't figure out why.
That's like a first sign kind of thing.
And the vet was like, man, her heart rate's really slow. She's like, she will die eventually, or we could, do the thing and hurry it up. And like, I was an emotional wreck, just like,
did you put her down?
Oh, we put her down. And I was tears coming out of my she's like, do you want to be in the room when it happens? I was like, fuck no. Like, I was like, my mom stayed in the room, but I was like, I can't, I
often think about that because I have a cat, Mindy. I don't know where she is, but I'm just like, I just don't. Yeah, it's her. I want her to outlive me.
Yeah,
I know she won't.
Oh yeah, and
it's just such a sad thing.
So I go out in the waiting part of the vet, and I'm bawling my eyes out, and then like literally, there's a guy at the cash register talking to the girl, like, and he's like, he had to put his family dog down that day.
Fuck.
And he was like, yeah, I just don't know how I'm going to tell the 6 and the 8-year-old at home that the dog's not coming home. And that sort of it didn't stop my sadness, but it made me go like, fuck. He's got to go home and tell 2 little kids that the dog's not coming. You know what I mean? Like, I just got to go home and deal with the
You
fact.
just have to deal with the sadness yourself
Exactly.
and be alone with it.
And I was supposed to do I have a show every week at Gus's Pub Monday nights. And so I was supposed to do it that night because she died on a Monday. And it was so weird. I had this Halloween thing. Like, it was like I was going to dress in costume. I had bought snacks to give out, like, at the thing. And I contacted my co-host, Martin Edwards, and I was like, man, I can't make it tonight. You're going to have to do it. He's like, absolutely. I found out they turned it into what they called the Dead Cat Show.
What?
Where, like, every comic got on stage and talked about my cat and the fact that it was sad that I wasn't there. And Travis gets up and he goes, I just want to let you guys know, I fucking hate cats. He goes, but I loved that cat so much. And I was just like, when I found out he said that, I was like, oh, you sweet son of a bitch.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so I sat at home eating a whole box of fun-sized cheesies.
Cheesies are the
while
fucking
listening to, like,
best.
I remember, you ever hear that Warren Zevon song, Keep Me in Your Mind a little while, Keep Me in Your Heart for a little while?
No.
Yeah, it's Warren Zevon's a great rock and roll artist. When he was dying of cancer, he wrote a song about, like, just remember me for, so, like, I'm listening to this song crying, eating cheesies. My roommate comes out, he's like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, the cat's dead. Just give me a night.
I don't blame you, and I would 100% take a day off work. Like, I would do the exact same thing as what you did.
Yeah, but I love that. It was the first pet I've ever had that was, like, super fucking attached to me. Like, I've always loved cats, but they're always very super independent. Like, this one was like,
I was just like, I don't care.
This one was like,
Was she
I'm
a
on you
lap
at all.
cat?
Yeah, she's on me all the time. She was a barn cat when they found her, right? So she was, like, abandoned. So she was like she wants to know you're there all the time type of shit. So, but, you know, I had 15, 16 years, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's a good life.
Yeah.
That's a good fucking life.
Yeah.
You always, like, I have a friend of mine that, like, her cat was 5, which is, like, a year younger than my cat right now. And she just found her cat dead. Mm-hmm. Like, it just died at 5 years old. And I'm just like, that's my worst nightmare. Yeah. My sister's a vet, and I asked her, I was like, how the fuck does this, like, what the fuck?
The one thing, like, okay, I feel like I took it down a really dark, weird road for your podcast.
I love going down dark roads.
But one of the things that I was happy about, at least, is that she was like there's you know the movie Donnie Darko?
Yes, I do. So it's one of my favorites.
I love Donnie Darko. And there's, like, a scene in it where I think he's talking to a psychiatrist about, like, their family pet that, like, hid under the house because she died alone. He's like, it made me realize that everybody just dies alone. And I was at least happy that the cat didn't go, like, hide somewhere in the apartment. There's plenty of places that if she was, like, she could have went under something and I'd have never found her. Right. You know what I mean? So I was like, at least in that moment, I was kind of thinking, like, no, at least we were together. When it I wasn't in the room, but at least we were together,
and at least it was peaceful.
Yeah.
Because when they do it, it's peaceful. I hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Mom says it's just that they go to sleep. They just
go to sleep.
Yeah. So
fuck, it's fucking.
I'm more
hard,
torn
though.
up about that than I've been family members and shit. I'm like, this cat had my back. You can go fuck yourself. I'm like,
I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's like, and you're with them every day.
And I got a 3-minute bit about it, so in the end, it all worked out.
You get some comedy. What's your process with comedy? So, like, how do you, like, obviously it's based around your life.
Yeah.
But how do you write jokes, I guess is my question.
It's 2 different ways that I can write jokes. Most of the time, my writing jokes comes from something that I'm thinking in the moment, then I'm like, how can I make that longer? Here's a perfect example of, like, it's just a new joke that I'm working on. I mentioned I went to a gay wedding the other day, and I did this, first time I did it on stage was the other night, and it went pretty well, so hopefully it's like, but I gotta build on it. It's just that I was like, well, the part that didn't go well was I was saying about how, like, I like saying it's a gay wedding because I like seeing the reaction on people's faces. And if you give me a look like you just smelled like moldy bread, or then I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you're not.
But you could go, oh, so cute.
And, so I did this thing where I said, I was like, you can't joke at a gay wedding though. You just can't. People are too sensitive. It's like I said this. woman came up to me. I didn't know who she was, and Justin and James are getting married. She's like, "Are you here for Justin or James?" And I just went, neither. I just felt somebody should speak for the Lord. And I was like, that's how you don't get invited back to a gay wedding. So to me, that's the joke writing is like, I never actually said that to somebody, but I threatened, I told my friends, this is what I should tell everybody when I get there. This is that I'm here to, or that I only came to boo, or just something ridiculous.
It's an aspect that you add to it.
Yeah, so that thought pops in your head, and then you go home and you're like, how can you expand on it? How can you do tags to the joke? How can you do callbacks? Shit like that. Or there are times where I will sit down and be like, all right, I got my phone's turned off. I'm not at home. I got a big mug of tea or coffee.
Yeah.
And then you
sit down and you intend to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn. But I always wonder about the aspect of it of I might write stuff in my phone that I think is funny. Mm-hmm. But it's how the fuck do those things transition into one another?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's so much of it.
I think sometimes to be completely honest, sometimes the shit that gets laughs, I don't even know why. You know what I mean? I think it's funny when I wrote it. Right. But I'm I don't know why anybody else would think it was funny.
Right. It's so much testing.
Yeah, it's the best analogy I ever heard about stand-up comedy when it comes to and this is what people got to fucking understand that come to open mic comedy shows. If you're not going to a comedy club, you're going to an open mic comedy show. And if you're going to an open mic comedy show, you're going to hear some rough shit. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear shit that's really good. You're going to hear shit that's dog shit, and it's not good. But if we started a band tonight, we would practice forever. And then when we did our first show, say we were doing 5 songs, we'd have those 5 songs ready and we'd nail those 5 songs. You can't do that in comedy.
No, fuck no.
You have your practice is in front of other people.
Yeah.
And a person I used to know said it best. She said if the Rolling Stones had to fucking, from the minute they started, had to do every practice session in front of an audience, they may have never became the Rolling Stones.
So true.
We're comedy, we have to do that, right?
You have to do that.
So people come to open mics, they hear shit, and they go, "Oh, that offended me." Well, this might not be done. It's not a shut your mouth. I get it. I hear shit all the time at open mics that I find to be poor taste. But those people,
it's just
don't
not
last.
for you.
Yeah.
But don't. To maybe someone else in the room, it's for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to make a point of letting the audience know, you're going to find some shit really funny, you're going to find some shit not so funny. Yeah. But that's the point of tonight. You go to Yucks on the weekend, you should find all of it funny. And if you don't, that's the comic's fault.
Yeah, that's very, very true. What about bombing? Is there an art to bombing?
Bombing is so much fun. It is, man. It's so stupid to say that. Why would you ever say not doing well at what you're supposed to be? The thing, it's fun for me now because it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm
right. You've been doing it so long. How long have you been doing comedy?
Almost 9 years.
Crazy.
So I started. Well, I'll be entering my 9th year in a couple weeks. So I started August 31st, 2010.
Wow, you remember the date?
I remember the date, especially because August 31st is my mom's birthday.
By the way, okay, you mentioned your mom. When I was
a very close
watching
relationship with my mom.
The roast today, I had it just playing, and I thought it was fucking great. And it YouTube autoplayed one of your other videos.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the video of I made a mother's
cut of my album where it's just it goes, "How's everybody doing tonight? Anyway, you guys have been great. Have a great night."
I laughed so fucking hard because I was just I relate to that so much.
I love my mom. My mom to me is one of the greatest fucking people I've ever my mom. My dad is a great dude. My dad is, but my dad loved my mom didn't think she was gonna have any more kids when she started hooking up with my dad. I have a brother and a sister, but my brother's 10 years older than me. My sister's 12 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
My dad was about 5 years younger than my mom. So it was kind of one of these. They were fucking. They were fucking for the fun of it. I mean, it's weird to say, but it's true. They were fucking. They just they liked fucking each other. And she got pregnant, and my dad always told me she bawled her eyes out in the fucking doctor's office when our doctor told her she was pregnant. And my dad's always been a part of my life, and he's always tried to help out financially as much as he could, but he's been a physical laborer his entire life. There's not a lot of money in that shit, you know?
Right. And
my mom, at one point, was working a job, going to school, and raising 3 kids basically on her own. Because the other 2 kids' dad fucked off, wasn't even in their life.
Okay.
At least my dad was in my life, you know?
Right.
Are
they still together, your mom and dad?
No, they're super close. Like, they're super good friends. And I don't know. I've always just like really admired what she sacrificed to make not even just our lives, but everybody around her's life work really well.
A level of selflessness.
Yeah.
That is like, there's nothing like
Now,
it.
that being said, I refuse to let her listen to my stand-up comedy. That's why there's the mother's cut.
My mom just recently found out about the podcast. I kept it from her for a long time.
Oh, I could tell my mom I do a podcast. She would have no idea what that is. And I would just be like, we're leaving it at that.
Oh my God.
She wants to come see me do more comedy, but it's just like, you know, I have a whole 10-minute bit on my album about, you know, being attractive to and the shit I had to go through with like trans women, right? Like, and it's just like, that's a conversation I just don't want to have with my mom.
You don't want to open up the door.
You know, like my mom, like I can admit as an adult that my mom has sex. It's no big of a deal, but she doesn't want to talk to me about her fucking, and I don't want to talk to her about me fucking. So like that's why it's like, she's a huge champion though for me. But I just like, yeah, but you can't listen to it. It's all good.
That's exactly kind of what I said to my mom. I was just like, she's like, how do I find your podcast? And I was just like, well, you can find it on the Apple Podcast app. Please vote for me for the coast, but maybe don't listen.
Yeah, I'm just like, and then my dad was up recently because I had him up to visit. I bring him up once in a while, and he saw my mics and my stands and everything. So what's that for? I'm like, it's a podcast I do. And he goes, what's a podcast? I'm like, it's like online radio. And he's like, okay. My dad, I feel first I want to say, I'm sorry if I bogart a lot of the time. I just like talking, but
dude, this is what the show is.
I'll tell you this funny story about my dad.
Tell me.
I did a show in Bridgewater, where I'm from, on my dad's birthday when he was living in Bridgewater. And there were 10 people in the audience. And my dad already told me he wasn't going to come down that night. He had seen me do stand-up before, but he was like, I'm probably going to be drinking earlier during the day. I'm not going to come down and see the show. So I'm headlining the show in my hometown with 10 people because clearly I was loved and respected in my hometown and a huge draw. So I get on stage and I go, hey, you know, it's my dad's birthday. We should call him up on my speakerphone and sing happy birthday to him. So I get my speakerphone up, put it up to the microphone, get dad on the phone. Hey, I go, hey, he's like, aren't you doing a show? I'm like, yeah, I'm on stage right now. I just thought we would all sing happy birthday to you. My dad, who's drunk, goes, just do your act. I went, okay. My dad also is very super supportive and loves me, but in that moment he was like, just do your act. I was like, fair enough.
Like, I don't want any part of this.
No, he's like, I would have come to the show if I wanted attention. Otherwise, go fuck yourself.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Oh, it's tough though.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird thing with parents because I don't know. Like, are you close with your parents?
Yeah, I'm very close.
Okay, see, I'm not.
I'm I see my mom many times a week. Like, she got a fucking key to my apartment. She's just
really? That's so cute.
And I talk, like, I don't see my dad as much, but like I do love my dad's like one of those guys that's just like he wants to crush beers and get all lovey-dovey and be like, oh, you're my best friend and like blah blah blah. And no, I love both of them, man. They like my dad worked 30 some years of job, physical labor, busting his ass to get fired because he was too old to keep doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's a work ethic.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I respect the fuck out of them both so much. It's hard for me to tell them that. Like, you know, it's hard for me to even ask advice or like support from them sometimes because you're just like, I was having a conversation with a friend about the other day. So because the issue is like, you don't want them to feel like they, like if you need like, hey, I need $200, can you help me out? You don't want them to feel like they failed as a parent.
No, that's exactly it.
Because they're supposed to get you ready to the point where you're not in that position.
Where you're not asking for money
to
get you out of binds. Mm-hmm. But like sometimes you gotta.
Yeah,
I would rather fucking go to parents than go to friends.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would never ask. Yeah. If I was in a bind, I would not want to ask friends for $200. Yeah.
And the thing is, like me and my dad, I'm my dad's only kid, and like my mom and I are really close. And I just, I don't know. Like I think when she got over the fact that she was gonna have another baby at that age, like she had a little more money to do things for me than she did the other two.
Right.
Like not a crazy amount, but like she took me to Disney World when I was 12.
Wow.
Which is like she wanted to take the other kids, but she could never afford to do it.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, so like, and now they're 20. Like, if I was 12, they were 22, 24.
Right.
Like, so, you know, whatever, right? Like,
well, yeah. They might, but.
Well, they've gone, like, I don't know if my sister's actually gone. My brother's in the Navy and he makes good enough money so he can go as much as he fucking wants to go. You know? like, but I don't know. We just have this really, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have a hard time talking to her sometimes about things that I would like to talk to her about. But like when I do need to ask for advice or something, she's very like, you know, like,
okay.
Yeah, she's very, very, very smart woman. Like,
that's good to have though. Yeah. And maybe you'll get there though.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It's like how much of yourself do you want to tell your parents about? You know,
that's exactly, and that's the weird thing about having podcasts where you talk about your life because.
Yeah, it's easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, you can tell them don't listen. But like, I mean, you could go back and fucking, you know, listen to us 2 episode and find out about how I had my ribs broken by a dude.
Yeah.
Like one of the darkest times of my life. Do you really want to hear that? Because if you hear that, it's gonna make you uncomfortable.
Exactly. And there's just things it's like I admire the like anybody that's like, I'm gonna be open and honest about it on a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against them if they're like, I feel uncomfortable being open because your parents are a different thing. Like, you know,
it's a different thing. Totally.
And I don't know what that's like. I've never had kids. I don't know what that feeling is like to be like, parents don't want to hear shitty things that their kids had to go through, but that doesn't mean that their kids shouldn't talk about it. Just maybe not talk about it to their parents.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why it's like, I think it's important to not be cagey about things that you're creating. Yeah. Because I think there is an aspect to content creation where there's a period of time where you're a little cagey about it.
Yeah.
And I've stopped being cagey because I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I want this thing to grow a bit. And it's not going to grow if I'm just like, you know, putting out episodes and stuff.
No, I had to be the same way with comedy when it came to my mom, is that my mom was always very enthusiastic about like, when's your next gig? When's your thing? And I'd always like, but it's like especially like when I go on tour, like I need her help, like you know, not financially, but it's just like I'm on tour, I need you to help me like take care of some shit from at home while I'm on tour.
You know, home base.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I went on tour for a month, like I never felt more closer to my mom.
Oh, interesting.
Because I was like calling her every day, and she was, instead of her going, "What'd you do yesterday?" and me be going, "Nothing." I'd actually like tell her everything I did all day.
Right. You get over that hump of being scared.
I'm like, I'm provinces away. Like,
yeah, you can't do anything about it. You can't do it. So has she ever gone? Well, she's gone to your shows.
Oh yeah, she's seen me do comedy before. Yeah.
So has she ever told you like, I wasn't a fan of what you said?
What makes me laugh is like, okay, there's one show she's only ever really been to one show. But I did this is years ago. I did a showcase for Just for Laughs in Halifax Comedy Festival, and I just had a great set, and she was there. And like half of it was clean, half of it was dirty. But then I also did CBC's Laugh Out Loud, a radio show. She wasn't there, but I gave her, because where it's radio friendly, I was like, you want to listen to anything, here's the one to listen to, right? And she shares it with her friends all the time. But then she'll say like, I didn't raise him. She's like, now he's funny, but that language, I didn't raise him to talk like that. To which my response is, you let me watch Boys in the Hood when I was 8. Like, what do you mean you didn't raise me to be like, okay, I don't know if you, because you're 31?
31.
Okay. I don't know if you know this song. I remember distinctly being in a fucking car with my mom and my brother, and we're listening to music. Do you know the Out Here Brothers in the 90s? There was this rap duo, sort of rap pop duo called like Out Here Brothers.
Don't think so, but if you sing the song,
okay,
a bit,
yeah, I'm getting
know.
to it. They have a song called Boom Boom Boom, and the fucking lyrics go, Girl, your booty is so round, I just want to lay you down. Let me take you from behind. I won't come until it's time. If I cannot sleep with you, maybe I could have a taste. Put your naughty on my tongue and your booty on my face.
Whoa!
And I know she was driving while we were listening to that fucking song, and she wants to talk about like, I didn't raise you like that.
It's like you were doing it without knowing it.
Like, unless you completely tuned out to these fucking lyrics, I don't know who raised me.
And now it's like, now parents are giving their kids iPads and shit and just putting them
I'm
on the
so
internet.
staunchly, man. I have nieces and nephews, right? My niece is like going into university, which blows my fucking mind.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy. And my nephew is like in his prime teenage. He's probably beaten off and everything that fucking moves. It's like, I wouldn't want to be doing the laundry at that house. Fucking Christ. And then my other nephew's like 5 or 6. Man, like my brother, me and my brother have a weird relationship. Like, I idolized my brother growing up. He's 10 years older than me. Like, fucking idolized the shit out of him. And now we fight a lot and shit. And, but like, you know, he's talking about like, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm drinking, but like, who gives a fuck? He doesn't know I'm doing this.
Welcome to Intoxicated.
Yeah. But he was complaining about like his daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
And then I found out his daughter's boyfriend's 20 and she's 17. And I went, well, who the fuck let that happen in the first place? Y'all were cool with them dating. Now you're mad. Like, no. I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but I'm thinking, fuck, if I got a 17-year-old, she sure shit ain't dating a 20-year-old, or I'm going to put my fucking foot up somebody's ass.
Yeah, because at that age, like, that's a big difference.
It's also kind of weird, because that's that old school mentality of men, like, you know, taking care of women.
I know exactly why that happened. We didn't screw it in.
Fair enough. As long as you're cool with it, I'm cool with it.
Nothing happened. Editing.
But you know, like, it's that weird thing where it's like there's some women that would hear that and be like, let a woman make her own choice and blah 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 blah. And what is 3 years anyway? Like, you know, 3 years now. It's not that big of a deal. But I don't know, man. I'm like, fuck, you're 20 and you're dating some chick who's in high school. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's a little weird. When I was 17, I lost my virginity at 17.
Yeah.
And I think he
stop
was...
bragging. Some of us had to wait 8 more...
Stop bragging! Oh my
You're
God.
looking back at that experience in your mind right now going, I'm not bragging about shit. That was not...
But it was weird because, I mean, I grew up in Ancanesh, small town. And, like... we just didn't have a sexual high school.
Yeah.
Like, you'd see couples and they just didn't seem like they were fucking.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just holding hands every now and then, just walk down the hall together. And I mean, I would love to just go back and reach out to some high school people and be like, did you guys fuck? Like,
yeah, it'd be interesting to find out, right? No, because like I never thought of that either, but I don't know if anybody I mean,
I was
my
the
male
first in my
friends
friend
didn't
group.
have girlfriends, right?
I was the first in my friend group to get fucked.
Yeah.
And then they all followed suit because of me.
Yeah.
And I was with my boyfriend for the least amount of time. Everyone else was dating for like
You got a
3
bucket
years.
list. You're like, I gotta check this off as quick as I never know when a car is gonna hit me. So I gotta get that dick. Just make it happen.
I was just like, I remember my first kiss was with his best friend.
Oh yeah.
And I think he fingered me too. I don't really remember. But like, and then he's like, meet my friend. And then I ended up dating the friend. And then he was like my first one of 2 boyfriends that I've had. I've only had 2 boyfriends.
When I was in high school, there was this chick. Do you mind if I have another one of these? I feel like I'm bogarting all these.
It's all yours.
Okay.
I would not drink Budweiser myself.
Yeah, I must
By
have
the
the
way, I
most
normally
pedestrian request.
I normally mention what we drink. We're drinking Budweiser tonight.
Because I'm not a craft beer I like Good Robot. That's about the only craft beer I like. Everything else, I can't do
Fucking thank you.
Yeah, it's
sometimes
not my
it's
thing.
nice to just go with the old.
To me, it's
tried and true.
Beer is the common man drink. So when you start adding fruits and nuts to it, it's not a common man thing. It's not. Your Berry Blast fucking Bonanza beer, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Blonde.
No, man, sorry.
Like they add a fruit
I drink to not have to deal with my problems, not for the taste of it. like,
you know what? I've tried to reach out to local liquor places.
Good Robot, I think those guys would be great guests for you. The fucking guys who started Good Robot, they used to come out to comedy shows in the Halifax before they started Good Robot and said that they were like, we're opening this brewery and we want to have comedy there when we do it. Like, I mean, they're
fuck it. We are like over an hour in, so whoever hears this, they're true fans.
They've had great comedy shows there, and I've done them before, and they're fucking fantastic. They're a little bit, in my opinion, they're a little bit into catering to certain groups now in the city.
Yep. That
they can't have the uncensored comedy like they really wanted to.
Right.
Like, to me, comedy is a fucking. It should be a bastion of free speech, and it should be an area where you'd be able to say whatever the fuck. Like, I miss the bad boys of comedy, man. Like, and the bad girls of comedy. Like, I miss the fucking these comics like you don't see making any more of anymore. Like
because people are scared.
Yeah,
you think people are scared.
Oh, they're scared, and because you can't turn around without somebody wanting you fired for a joke or boycott this or ban that. It's like, all these old school comics that men and women that are just fucking fantastic balls to the walls comics now. Mm-hmm. You can't. I don't know. It's weird though because there's certainly a lot of really good new comedy. Like, I've been obsessed with Michelle Wolf.
I love her. Did you watch
dude.
Did you watch the thing she did at the political thing? I don't know what it was called.
The Correspondence' Dinner.
Yes, did you watch that?
Well, no, because here's what happened. When the Correspondence' Dinner came out and I heard she killed, I was like, I don't know. I always like the Correspondence Dinners, but I also feel a little uncomfortable because
highly
of how not into it the rest of everybody else is. Mm-hmm. What happened was I went and watched her HBO special called Nice Lady.
I need to watch that.
Which is fucking incredible. Start to finish, just an amazing hour of comedy. Then I went back and watched the Correspondence thing and I was like, oh yeah, she's fucking slayed that. Like, I think she's hilarious, man. I love her. It
was just like, this is who I am, people. Fucking and I watched that just being like, wow, that's, I hate saying it, but it's inspirational.
But here's what I like too, about her. She had a joke, she has a Netflix show called The Break with Michelle Wolf, and it's a decent show. There's some episodes that are way better than the other shows, but she made this joke about I forget what the setup was, but the punchline was something about it's the same look white liberal men in their 40s have on their face when their daughter brings home a black man to date. And to me, it's there's such a weird hypocrisy on the left that it's so easy to make fun of the right wing because they're just batshit fucking crazy. But there's a crazy hypocrisy on the left when it comes to what you can and can't say. That I love when no comics is afraid to do that when they know that's their audience base is mostly left-leaning liberals, and they're like, I'm gonna still call you on your bullshit. And to me, I fucking love that, especially about her. I just think she's fucking incredible. I think she's one of the best comics working out there today.
She's fantastic.
Yeah
she's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I had Heidi Brander on as one of it was the first comedian I had on the show. Cause I just love her. But she made a good point. She's like, oh yeah, you see in Toronto or these larger cities, women comics being racist and being very offensive. And she even made a comment. She's like, and I just think to myself, it's not for me, but good on you. Yeah. Good on you for going there at least. It might not be for you, but
it's a huge debate in comedy, especially when it comes to women.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate the debate because, man, you're funny or you're not funny.
It doesn't fucking matter.
I don't think it has anything to do with your gender. I've met just as many funny female comedians as I've met as many unfunny male comedians.
Yeah.
It's just who you are as a person. How
Like, you can't be a woman in comedy going into it and just expecting people to think you're funny.
Yeah, no,
Whether you're funny or not, you know.
No, I agree. And I personally, like, I love, if I'm booking like a pro show, I definitely want a woman on that show.
Yeah.
Not to fit quota.
Right.
I just think it breaks up the voice.
You guys made a good point, because you guys talked about this on a recent episode, didn't you? And you made a good point. You were like, it's just maybe not as many women get into it.
Well, the issue is it's not as many women. It's all a numbers game, really. This whole women and funny and comedy thing is a numbers game.
Yeah.
There's not as many women that get into it, and the women that do, the percentage is smaller than men. So the bomb percentage is going to seem higher. You know,
there's less of them.
Now, the other thing that bothers me the most is, like, especially from women who are just starting comedy, when they're like, oh, well, it's all man-dominated industry. It's not in Canada. Halifax Comedy Fest, booked by women. Winnipeg Comedy Fest, booked by a woman and a trans woman.
Right.
Just for Laughs, booked by a woman. CBC radio comedy stuff, booked by a woman. Yuck Yucks, up until about 8 months ago, booked by a woman.
Right.
Like there's so many.
They just instantly go there for whatever reason.
And to me, it's like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of fucking women in the comedy industry, even in Canada, that don't get their fair shot. And they're fucking hilarious. I can name you 10 fucking women comics that I think are amazing you've never heard of.
You should name them.
It's just like, I should have said 10. Nah, I should have said 5, because in my drunken state, 5 would have been. Fuck, I'm trying to remember her last name. See, that's the issue. Like, I go to Ontario every year and I see fucking incredible female, even in our own scene, man. Like, they're like, Catherine Robertson's hilarious. Like, even I have personal issues with some people, like, but like, I'm not gonna get into this on the podcast, but I have personal issues with Chanel Frere. But I think Chanel Frere is fucking hilarious.
I've heard very good things about her from multiple people.
I think she's hilarious. She hates My Godson wants me to die, but I think she's fucking hilarious. You know,
it's funny because when I kept telling people I'm having Andrew Vaughan on, I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I was
with booze? Oh shit.
No, I was just like I've always heard, like, because I don't think I might have seen some of your stuff, but my thing is like, I haven't been to a comedy show in so fucking long. Yeah, that's gonna change real soon. I'm gonna start going. But like, all I heard was like that you do dirty stuff, and I was like, sweet, I love dirty stuff.
I mean, I do.
Let's do
like,
it.
But the problem with the dirty stuff, you could do 10 fucking jokes. One of them could be dirty, 9 of them could be clean. Your label is a dirty fucking comedian.
Yeah, that's very true.
My thing is, I just don't. I talk about what I want to talk about. Like, it's not whether it's dirty or whether it's not. And if people really like, it sounds like I'm being defensive, but if people said I do dirty shit, if they really knew how comedy worked and watched me do a set, they would, especially if you listen to my album. I recorded an hour, mix it down to 45 minutes. If you listen to that album, it starts off tame with a hint of dirty to see how you're going to feel about it.
Right.
Tame. Starting to push some edges, starting to get a little political, now here comes the dirty. Now, like, but it's all perfectly,
it's a build-up.
It's structured so that I know exactly where I can go with the audience.
It's a build-up.
Yeah.
You're not just going up being like, fucking pussies and dicks.
I'm dirty, like, but like, I don't feel like I'm any, like, my biggest thing is like, I mean, you've listened to our podcast. I say a lot of shit sometimes that I'm just like, I don't even know if I necessarily stand behind it. I think this is where you were talking about me trying to bring hose back. I was like,
yes, right after you shouted me out, by the way.
I didn't realize it was that close togetger. That's not good timing.
I loved it, so I was dying laughing.
That is not good comedic timing.
It was fucking great, because you're like, yeah, this girl take me. I'm gonna go on the Intoxicated podcast, and then I think one of them was like, oh, I thought you guys were wrapping up, and you're like, no, we're just talking about hose. And I was like, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to bring hose back, and like bitches is another word I use. Okay, so I was at the gay wedding, and They had a barbecue. It was like hamburger, hot dogs, and salads and all this shit. Like, this is the least gay wedding I've ever fucking been to, man. They fist bumped. We had hamburgers and hot dogs. I'm like, you guys ain't even gay. I don't even know where this. Like, I thought this was gonna be some. I was prepared for some gay shit. Like I wanted. So anyway,
That sounds like an awesome wedding.
they're making all this shit, and I love Boys in the Hood. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in Boys in the Hood where like there's backyard barbecue and all the men rush it, and they're kind of like, one of them's like, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s like, yeah, maybe we should let the women eat first, and then Ice Cube's like, yeah, why don't you let the hoes eat first? Hoes gotta eat too. like
I like it. I think we should bring it back.
I just like, to me, it's like, don't. Honestly, like,
Yeah,
if
let's
you
bring
think I'm being disrespectful to women by wanting to call them
know.
hoes, it's like I'm clearly being so fucking facetious. Like
100%. And we need to bring it back. The bigger the hoop, the bigger the hoe.
And to me, it's like, well, my favorite
thing.
thing, if you've listened to the podcast lately, especially, my favorite thing is every time I want to say something that I think will get me in trouble, I just look at Travis. Because Travis is a black man, and the PC culture ain't ready to take on the black man yet. So he can say whatever the fuck he wants, and they're not ready to, like. But I tease him. I go, "You look more Arab than you do black," so I don't know if they're gonna know that you're black. Like, that's the type of podcast it is. If you're not down for that shit, don't listen to it.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think you commented on one of our posts the other day. I was
the Amazon position.
Yes. Okay. I was so happy that somebody fucking gave a shit about this.
This is why it's okay. People listening, if you listen to a podcast that you like, and there's a moment that you find yourself at home going, yes, or like, you know what I mean? Like you're listening to it, and then something comes up that it really resonates with you. Fucking comment on that shit and let them know, because why the fuck not?
Also too, like, a lot. I don't know about your podcast, but like the only social media we have is Instagram.
Oh, really? We do Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
And
but
the
Twitter's like the least.
The only reason is because I fucking have been in so much social media shit over the couple of years. Yeah. I love Instagram because it's so fucking hard to argue with pictures. It's like, it's so fucking hard to start an argument over pictures. And so that's why I was like, we're just going to do Boys Club, like, Instagram. I'll post it on my personal Facebook and, like, you know, my own Twitter and whatever. And I get I don't know about you, but like on my Instagram, I get so many replies that are clearly bots. Yeah, no, same. Like they'll just comment with like hands clapping. They're hands clapping, or they're like, nice job. Check out www. blah, blah, blah. And that was some killer content. Yeah, and Good job. So when I get a comment, even if it's like, I knew you're a real person, but it's nice to have like something attached specific to it. I used to do a thing, and I think maybe I'll bring it back this episode. I used to, at the end of the episode, say a hashtag. Yeah. And like make it very specific and weird. And then like be like, comment with the hashtag if you made it through the whole episode. No one ever did. I like we have like a series of hashtags based on our jokes and shit. Like, like Travis Lindsay has a hashtag Disney and dick jokes. What's with him and Disney? Oh, he fucking loves Disney. He's obsessed with Disney. So like if I have him on, should I form some sort of Disney theme? Yeah, he'll just talk Disney to you forever. He fucking loves Disney, man. Wow, that's so fascinating. And so he got a ton of jokes in his act about how much he loves Disney. So it's like, so random. He's recording. The worst part was because he's recording an album and he wanted to call it Tragic Kingdom because of. But then he found out that No Doubt called their album Tragic Kingdom, and he was like, well, maybe they weren't meaning play on Disney. And then he looked at the font and it's written just like the Disney font, and he's like, fuck, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm like, yep, sucks to be you, man. Oh my god. Yeah, so he loves his is Disney and dick jokes. Nickel Black is another one that he did, 'cause he's a joke in his set about being the only black guy at a Nickelback concert, so he's pretty sure people use the hashtag Nickelblack to like post photos of him. Does he like Nickelback? No, it's a whole joke about his girlfriend took him to a concert. It's a very good joke. Oh, okay. And then mine is like backed up cum is my. I saw that on there and I was like, what? It's an old joke I used to do. Where is this coming from? The old joke I used to do is I always wear a wife beater under like all my shirts. Yep. And a comic told me that I should tell people it's not a wife beater, it's 10 years of backed up cum. So that's where backed up cum comes from me. I was wondering what Yeah,
I was like,
you're always looking at it like, why do they always hashtag backed up cum?
I listened to. I was like, I don't remember this coming up in the episode. I'm very, very confused, but I approve of it.
Yeah, so we have our own little hashtags, and I
love that.
See if anybody. But it's funny now. I noticed too. Whenever I post to social media and I go hashtag like D, it comes up Disney and dick jokes right away. Like it's not even like
because you use it
it's
so
like
much?
using it so much. Like we know where you're going
What's
with this.
Dan's?
Dan doesn't have one, to be honest.
Jesus Christ.
He doesn't have a specific, but he should. We should fix that.
What about the nicknames? So you guys all have nicknames.
Yeah.
You're Big Cat?
The Big Cat.
Big Cat?
Yeah,
Where'd that come from?
Okay, so like it's twofold. I don't think any of us gave it. Okay, we kind of gave ourselves nicknames,
right?
But it was like we should all have nicknames. What do you want your nickname to be?
Oh, okay.
So like Dan immediately wanted Handsome Dan, and the funny thing is people call him Handsome Dan that never even listen to our podcast. So I'm like, oh, okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah, that fits.
Now Travis is the Kid, and the Kid is like a well-known term in the comedy industry for like a comic who's young but is a killer.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, let the kid go up. The kid can do this. The kid can do that. So that's, and it's like, Jim Norton used to jokingly call himself the Kid all the time. And he's a big fan of Jim Norton and Opie and Anthony as well. So that's where he sort of got it from. Now, my nickname, the Big Cat, was mostly, there's a wrestler called the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. But there's also like a radio show that I used to listen to, and I fucking love. It was called Ron and Fez. It was on Sirius XM. Ron Bennington is this, he's a radio personality, but he really knows comedy. There's a lot of comedy guests on, and his co-host is Fez Whatley. And Fez Whatley for years, Fez isn't on the radio anymore. Used to play a character that everybody was like, he's gay, but he won't admit it. Like. He's a Southern guy. He'd be like, no, I love women. And they'd be like, yeah, right. Like, and eventually he did come out of the closet. And unfortunately for him, like, he was so good on radio, but he had like a lot of mental problems. And he just ended up not being good on radio the last few years of his life. But his nickname was the Big Cat. Oh. And I always liked that radio show. And I always thought it'd be funny because a constant joke on the Boys Club Comedy Podcast is just like, when are you going to come out as gay? And I'm like, I'm not gay. Like, so I just thought it'd be funny to kind of adopt that moniker of somebody who actually had that for many years and then did come out. Like, so that's where I came up with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The Big Cat.
Yeah. And when my cat was alive, it was like, there's the little cat, there's the big cat. Like, it was
oh my gosh, that's so cute. This got more feelsy than I thought.
But I love the thing I love is like, because it started out just a nickname amongst the three of us. But I love now doing shows when other comics bring us up by our nicknames. My friend tonight did, because he saw my Instagram post and was like, the Big Cat is good people. Yeah, he told me. I'm like, oh, okay. Everyone knows him it's
as
so
Big Cat.
funny when someone brings you up on stage is like the Big Cat, Andrew Vaughan, and you're like, the audience looks at you like, what the fuck do you mean Big Cat? What? That doesn't mean shit to me. And I'm like, oh, it means something to me. I bring Dan and Travis up as Handsome Dan and the Kid. Like
I love it. I love the nickname.
It's I've
always wanted a nickname.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is too, it's like the whole boy, like, again, I'm sorry if I'm just drunk and rambling.
Never fucking apologize. This is amazing.
The whole boys club came from this comic who I may or may have not have mentioned earlier, who hates me. And we used to be really good friends. And one night I was not feeling very well, and she wanted to come hang out at my apartment. And I'm in Clayton Park, right? Somewhere up around the corner from you. And I said, yeah, you can come up, but like, man, I'm not feeling that great. Like, maybe it's just a headache. I'll be over it in an hour, and then, we'll be fine. Right. And then Travis got a hold of me. He was like, hey, man, what are you doing? And I'm like, told him the same thing. He's like, well, I'll come in. I'll hang out. And so I got back to her. I said, well, Travis is coming. If you want to come up, feel free. But like, I'm not going to come get you. Take the bus, right? Yep. And then she got fucking mad that I asked her to take the bus instead of me like picking her up in my car. And she started screaming and yelling at me and be like, all you want is a boys club. All you want is a boys club. And then I told Dan and Travis, and Dan started dancing around and going, boys club, all we want is a boys club. So we had this secret chat on Facebook that we renamed the boys club.
I love naming group chats.
Yeah,
It's
so
fucking great.
like that was the thing. And like for the longest time, it was just this like, we're the boys club. Mm-hmm. And then I created the logo for it, which is a knockoff of a New Japan wrestling group called the Bullet Club. But they like, if you can see, because I'm wearing the shirt tonight like a fucking weirdo, they usually have guns and bullets on the bottom, and I put microphones and beer bottles.
I love it.
And then changed it to the boys club. And so Dan made the shirts up. And then it just came this thing that everyone knew we were the boys club.
So this happened before the podcast?
Yeah, this happened before the podcast. Everyone knew we were the boys club.
Before the podcast started.
We had the t-shirts before the podcast.
Your Brandon just formed the show.
Well, it was just like it's just going to be this fun little thing for us to be like, we're a part of something that nobody knows about.
That's hilarious.
But then everyone started, like, in the comic scene knew we were the boys club, knew we were the Big Cat and Handsome Dan and the Kid.
What was the moment where you were like, let's make this a podcast?
Well, I wanted to do all three of us as a podcast from the start of podcasting.
Right.
Because like I said, I love Opie and Anthony and the third mic with a comic and Jim Norton there. I'm like, that's the show I want to do. Like I'm can never be as good as that show, but like the show I want to do is us just hanging out.
Shooting the shit.
I have a hard time asking for things that I want in life. Like, 'cause I feel like I'm putting a burden on somebody else.
It's hard.
And so it took a long time to finally agree that we were going to do this podcast.
Right.
And now I hope we never stop doing it. I fucking love doing
Isn't
it.
it so fun?
Yeah, it's fun. And like I'm going on tour and like I'm the guy who records and uploads and everything. And like I said to Travis, is like, I'll take the recorder and shit on tour. All you guys got to do is call in by phone.
Oh, there you go.
And we can have everything.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Because it's a momentum thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of, like, you got to just, like, commit to that
I think
momentum.
it's important to have an episode out every week. Like,
100%.
We had 1 week where Travis couldn't make it as well because of some personal issues. And I just put out an hour-long episode by myself.
Yeah.
Like, because I was just so there was a placeholder.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've thought about doing that. That makes me fucking nervous. Doing an episode alone.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah, I don't know how people fucking do it.
Especially as a comic, because it comes off like a super uninteresting, longer version of Mark Maron's intro.
I only recently started listening to Mark Maron's podcast.
Yeah, it's a good podcast.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Like especially these celebrities that you don't know dick all about.
Yeah.
I listened to Mila Kunis episode and I was just like, holy fuck, this chick's lived a life.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Yeah. And to me is like the one thing I love about podcasts, man, is like, yeah, you can jump onto Mark Maron now and be like, oh, well, he's interviewing a lot of celebrities. But just you could always go back to episode 1.
Yeah.
And like there's this podcast I've been listening to. It's called Criminal, and it's like half-hour episodes about like crime cases and shit.
Ooh.
And like I just started at episode 1. They're at like 400 episodes in.
Wow.
But I'm like, well, there's no like current event. Like, I mean, if you know it's a podcast that handles current event issues, it's kind of like, do you want to go back? But if you know it's just an interview or a topic-based discussion,
yep,
you can start at number 1 and then you just work your way through it.
I had someone recently like. I was telling her about the show and she subscribed. She's like, I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I go, sweet, thank you so much. Oh my God. Don't judge me on how bad it is though. Because
I feel
it's
the same.
real
I mean,
bad.
we have 26 episodes. I feel the same way.
It's real.
You know,
like the audio quality. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing when I started this thing.
Yeah.
I really like, I sat at that kitchen table and stressed out over editing. Was trying to edit in, I think it was some other system. I don't remember what it was, but like I lost the sound and then I had to try to get the sound back. And then like, it was like 48 hours and we did an episode around the Oscars.
Oh, okay.
And the intent was to release it in the time that it would be relevant, like the weekend of the Oscars.
Yeah.
So we were going to release it on a Saturday. The Oscars were on a Sunday.
Yeah.
We were talking about all the nominees for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And it was Sunday night, an hour before the Oscars aired, that I hit publish.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I mean, like, that's one piece of advice I will give anyone. Fucking record a couple before you launch, because I did not do that. And it fucked me real hard. But
yeah, I mean,
live and learn.
Yeah, we were the same way. I think we were sporadic from the beginning, but now we're on a nice schedule of having it out.
It's cool that you have a designated day to record.
Yeah,
That's
and the
really
thing
neat.
is, like, when Dan's like, "Why are you doing it at 7:00?" It's like, okay,
That's the perfect
to
time to
you,
do it.
you think we do because our episodes are about hour 45 minutes.
Yep.
Around.
Yep.
I mean, I go longer, but like I think like it's a
I think
good
over
time.
2 hours is too long.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
we do an hour 45 minutes. Then you guys leave. Then I gotta like put it on my computer. I gotta add the data information to it and the synopsis.
Yeah.
Then I gotta mix like make it sound a little bit better than it did. Then I gotta upload it to Squarespace. Then I gotta get it on the
There's so much more that goes into it than people think.
Yeah, I finished. We may start recording at 7, but I'm finished uploading it by 12:00 that night. Like.
So do you record and release on the same night?
Mhm.
That's insane. See, I record
Yeah.
and then I release like the next Friday.
Yeah, we
Or whatever,
do.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if it was an instance of where someone's in town and we want to have them on the podcast, like,
Right.
fine, recording in advance. But no, we record every Tuesday and have it up that same night. So
It's fucking rad.
yeah, just to have some consistency. Yeah.
No, it's that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
Because like I also have a friend who has a separate Intoxicated channel called Intoxicated Reviews, who does movie and TV reviews.
Is is Brian Thompson a part of this?
Yeah.
I fucking love Brian, man. And Brian's been telling me he's been doing this movie review podcast forever. And he keeps asking me to be a part of it.
You should do it.
And then I'm like, sure, man. And then like I never hear anything
Oh my
back.
God.
And then he's like, oh, well, let's pick a movie. And I'm like, all right, what type of movies? And then I never hear
So yeah, no, I'll hook you up with Corey. He'll help you and get you on there.
I love Brian. Brian to me is one of the funniest fucking people I've ever met in my entire life.
He's hilarious.
It was hilarious.
And he does it with
And
Corey.
did you have Mike McQueen on one of these?
Yes.
Because
Mike
I was
McQueen,
looking
Pete
through your
White.
internet. I was looking through your list of episodes, and I saw Mike McQueen, and I was like, "There's no way that there's another Mike McQueen. Like, it has to be the Mike McQueen I know." Like.
Comic, yeah. I've never met him. Corey kind of runs with that channel himself. and
Oh, okay,
We're
yeah.
all kind of under the same branding.
Yeah, you
of
call it
Intoxicated.
intoxicated like media or something. Yeah.
It's all about drinking and talking.
Yeah, I've been hoping to. One of the things I'm hoping for the Boys Club Comedy Podcast is like, I got a buddy of mine in the States. I've never met him in person, but he's been doing 2 podcasts now for a long ass fucking time. One of them is a wrestling podcast. It's called In Your Head. And the other one's a horror movie podcast called Without Your Head.
Amazing.
And I've been listening to these podcasts, not so much the wrestling one, but especially the horror movie one, probably since like early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
And he messaged me saying that he wants to start a podcast network.
This
And
is
have
needed.
people creating podcasts like have their shit on the network. And I think he's still planning on doing it. And I would love to like, because that's simple shit. We'll just record our episode, put it up, and if you want to put it on your network, it's there, right? Like, it'll just bring us to more listeners.
I've been thinking about this too.
Yeah.
Like in my
I
head.
think there should be a Halifax Comedy Podcast Network. Yeah.
Did something just happen tonight? we're
Oh, you don't want me to be a part of it other than to submit a podcast. Because you get I'm serious. My name's attached to this podcast. Some listeners are going to go down for sure.
The title of the episode will just be Andrew Vaughan.
Who's that fucking guy who said shit? No.
I love that idea. I think it's highly needed, especially for shows that are comedy based, uncensored.
You only had like half a beer. If I take another one, it's going to be.
You take another one. It's all. I'll be honest. Beer makes me bloated and gassy.
Okay. I'll be honest. Everyone was like, "You best bring some more beer because she doesn't know how much it takes to get you intoxicated."
Okay. Well, here's the thing, and I'll explain my process at the liquor store.
And I
today.
did bring a few more.
Oh, did you?
But I'm actually
I also
pretty
have a Molson
buzzed.
Canadian
I'm
in the
actually pretty
fridge.
buzzed.
I mean, I'll feed my guests as much booze as they
Yeah.
fucking want. I was at the NSLC and I was like, okay, there's 6 packs of cans. Or was it little bottles?
Like the normal size.
And then they had
bottles.
12 packs. I was like, well, 12 might be too much, but 6 isn't enough.
But you got
And
the
then I
tall
went to-
boys. You went with the tall boys.
I
This
went
is
with
a
the
good
tall boys
choice.
because it gives a bit more.
It's a little bit more. It's almost like an 8 or 9 pack of beer, which is
I like it.
And now I'm just gonna eat a weed cookie in front
Oh
of you.
my god, let's fucking ramp this shit up.
It's not going to kick in at any point, but this is part of my journey tonight.
Where'd you get them?
I have a friend who makes them, who sells them to me, and like I used to smoke weed like crazy. I don't smoke weed anymore. It's all edibles. All
really?
fucking edibles, man. I love getting high. I love feeling high. I love feeling fucked up.
Do you like head highs or body highs?
I mean, head highs in particular.
Yeah.
I don't do like a ton of drugs.
No.
but like there's some drugs I feel are just scary and you should stay away from them.
Oh, yeah.
But like I fucking love MDMA. Like
okay. Funny story about MDMA. That's like the one drug that I'm like, I feel like that's my drug. I feel like I need to try that. Sarah, maybe think about whether or not you're keeping this in. I'm gonna tell a story regardless, but just when you're editing, just think about it.
yeah.
I talk to myself.
Feel free to take anything out that you.
I wanted to do it on one of my birthdays, and I was like, okay, yes, let's buy it, let's do it, let's do it, and I bought it, and I fucking chickened out, and my friends just ended up doing
such a good drug, man.
And I've heard good things about it. That it's just like
6 hits on my birthday, which is way too much, but. Yeah, it was still
That's
like I was up till like 6 a.m. fucking. To me, like the thing about MDMA is like a lot of people think it's this party drug where you got to take it and you got to go out dancing and you got to fucking like, you know. To me, it's a conversation drug.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I take it and I get all I want to do is just. So like me and some comics take it and we just spend like 10 hours just like fucking like talking about everything under the sun.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's what I love. Like when it comes to drugs.
See, and I've always seen it as the. Like, you just love everything, lovey-dovey, touchy-feely. I just want to rub up against everything.
Yeah.
Drug. But if it's a talky drug, that's even better.
For me, it is. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, with drugs, I just find, like, I like indica.
Yeah.
More than the other one. Because my brain is overactive anyway.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it to chill out more than...
I like feeling silly. Like, when I'm high. If I'm not feeling silly, to me, it's like...
Fuck.
What's the point, you know? Like,
why did I do this?
Yeah, throwing crumbs on my stomach.
Why did I do this? So I have an idea.
Okay.
And let me know if you're down for it.
I'm down for anything.
I was thinking I could.
Can I ask you a question first?
Yes.
Is it okay if I pee really quick? Or is this the type
You're
of thing
not
that you
allowed.
can edit it out?
Totally not allowed.
I
fucking love talking about this shit. It's refreshing to talk to another podcaster.
Yeah,
I gotta say. And I do think that we should think about the network thing.
I think it's. I mean,
telling you, if you want to actually try to do this,
one of the things I would like
you.
to see too is like if it's possible to have a stream that just streams everything on a schedule, like even if it's like kind of repetitive, but it's like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you'll hear the Intoxicated podcast.
Have you?
And that not necessarily a new episode, but it's like, oh, you could either download it or if you just want to turn the stream on, it'd be like a regular radio station. Like,
so, have you ever thought about getting on CKDU?
I used to do college radio in university in Fredericton, and I love the shit out of it. I think the politics on campus right now are too... We used to do a show at on the Dalhousie campus. Dan Henderkin ran it when the grad house was there, which is apparently not even a thing anymore. It doesn't even exist.
It is there. It's different. Mm-hmm. It's... probably not the same as what it was.
So we had a really, really wicked little show. And then it went away, and then Dan tried to bring it back, and when all the shit was going down with like the company house on the coast, they were like, well, we don't feel like comedy is appropriate for the campus anymore. And it's just like... So,
CKDU, we used to air on CKDU every Friday, actually. Me and Corey would alternate. So it would be a reviews episode one week, and then my episode. Yeah. And the issue is that you can't curse. So we had to do radio edits. Mm-hmm. So I would go back and get old episodes, and I had to bleep out. And every now and then I would come across an episode and be like, oh yeah, it wasn't too many swears. And I was just like, no, I swear all the fucking time.
The thing that annoys me about that is like with community radio, especially, they tell you can play songs that have cursing in them because it's an artistic performance. And what I tried to argue is what we're doing right now is an artistic performance. Mm-hmm. So we should be allotted the same freedoms that we're allowing the recorded artists. Like
100%.
I mean, you couldn't play cursing at like 2 PM. It had to be like, you had to find the right appropriate time.
Like they told us, they're like, you need to be from 9 PM onwards. Yeah. And I was like, okay, sweet, 9:30 on Fridays. And I gotta say, like hearing your voice on the radio is really
it's awesome.
Cool. And it was really fun for a bit, but it got to a point where I was like the editing. Like I'm already doing weekly episodes, and like you edit them. Like it takes, you gotta listen to it, you gotta edit it.
The best thing about podcasts are just knowing that like it's uncensored. You do what you want to do.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
And there's no regulations. There's no governing board saying you have to play. Now, to be fair, I discovered a lot of Canadian artists that I never would have discovered working for radio because of the canned content, laws. But at least in podcasting, none of that should exist. You just do you, you know. And
you just do you.
Yeah, and I love that about podcasts. It's a wild, wild west out there, in my opinion.
Fucking so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's what's cool about it for me is that like I develop friendships with people.
Yeah.
You know, like who's to say that we would have never hung out or met?
Yeah.
Because
well, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Pump Up the Volume.
I've never seen it, but I really want to.
Fucking incredible movie, and it's like Christian Slater plays an underground like pirate radio host, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, he inspires all the kids to be like, it's super easy to go out and start your own pirate radio. If you got something to say, start it. And the scene in the movie are all these different kids being like, you're listening to so-and-so's and you're listening to this and this and that. And I feel like that's what podcasting is.
Yes.
Like you might only have 10 listeners, but they're your listeners.
They're your listeners.
And they listen because they want to hear what you have to say.
And for me, it's like, I just need a comment every now and then being like, thanks so much for that episode. Yeah. Like I had a friend like who like is like living across the country. Like she's really far away, but she like messaged me and she was like, thank you so much like for that episode. Like it made me realize shit. And like now I'm seeing a therapist. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like this makes it worth it. Because sometimes you do feel like you're talking out into a void. It's hard to get people to engage.
Yeah.
But like I think once I started actually doing it myself, I now make a point to fucking comment on any podcast I listen to.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm like, maybe they
what
just
it means
need to
to
hear
somebody.
that.
Yeah,
Maybe they just need to hear that.
Yeah.
You never fucking know.
I'm twofold in the sense that I think that like, you know, if you got 10 listeners, you rock those 10 listeners.
Rock those 10 listeners.
If you don't, then do it for yourself. Like I consider everything podcast we do like an audio diary.
It's an audio.
Yeah. Whereas like even if you don't listen to it, maybe 10 years down the road, I'll go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, like so that's how I look at it.
It's a record.
Yeah.
Of a point in time.
Yeah.
And like it's so fucking fun too.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's
so easy to the best part is the technology is so easy to get a hold of now.
So easy.
And it's so easy to find the equipment you need at a reasonable price.
Yeah. Yeah, you can start cheap. You can start very cheap. Snowball bike.
And people don't hold that against you either.
Nope.
I think it's only other podcasters that listen to podcasts and go, oh, well, this audio could have been better or this could have been. I don't think listeners do. I think listeners just go, I mean, look at Bill Burr's podcast. How many years Bill Burr did his podcast just talking into an iPad.
It's so true. People talking to their phones.
Yeah.
People talking to their phones and they release them as episodes. Yeah. For me, it's just like when I got to a certain point, I realized I was serious and I didn't want to stop. And I was like, well, you know, I think it's worth the investment to upgrade a bit.
Yeah.
Just because I'm starting to become a perfectionist a little bit. Yeah. So it was worth it for me to invest the money, but you don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, same as for me. I wanted to sound as close to radio quality as it can.
Exactly.
And that's just my own bullshit.
If I had my own way, I'd have a separate bedroom that would be like soundproofed.
Yeah, I'd have those like they look like egg carton shaped like things.
They're so pricey though.
Yeah, you know, really but I mean you're talking like there's a dude in New Brunswick who's a comic and his name's Mark Splood and he does a podcast called the Sploodcast.
I think I've heard of that.
And I did his podcast a little while ago. And he's got a room in his house that's just the podcast room.
Amazing. The dream.
And I was like, fuck man, I love this. This is so wicked. Like
the dream.
And like he does 2 podcasts a week. One of them is an MMA podcast, which I don't listen to because I'm just not into MMA. But I love that he's doing that thing that he loves, you know, like, and then he still does the comedy podcast. Like it's very.
I love when I see other pods doing that because that's kind of what Intoxicated is like we have the pop culture aspect. Like Corey doesn't want to come on and talk about feelings.
Yeah.
But I'm more of like, I'm the people and he's the pop culture.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good little mix. And like the reason we start reviews was like, I really want to talk about the show The Leftovers. It's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, I wanted to see that show.
You should look into it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but I would say give it 7 episodes and then decide. It's one of those shows you have to watch a bit to get into. But we decided to recap the final season of The Leftovers. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, well, like you love TV so much, like just have the channel. Like you take it over. Like you go places with it. So he does like 90s movies, 80s movies, current like Marvel movies. Like he does it all and he's such an expert. And I'm like, it's really, really cool to like have two people doing separate things, but we're
Yeah,
kind
and
of rooting each
there's
other
like
on.
a weird thin line sometimes you draw is just doing like a general discussion podcast.
Yeah.
Is like where you don't feel like you want to do too much shit that's about like Travis and I all the time be like, what'd you watch on Netflix this week?
Yeah.
And then it's like, but then part of me is like, is this just turning into like, this is cool on Netflix show? Like
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
No,
like,
totally.
like I'm not, I'll still do the segment and
Right,
still
right,
talk
right.
about the shit. But like, to me, it's like, and it's the same as like, oh, like, I've been wanting to talk about Ant-Man 2 with him forever, and he hasn't seen Ant-Man 2 yet. Like
You need to do good Toxicate reviews. That's the best.
yeah.
Corey's really unique in what he does in that he's very much so a recapper. He will break down each scene.
Yeah.
And he will rarely miss a scene. So one of our favorite things, like he does like old 90s movies and like 80s movies and stuff, and like will go, and he's actually reviewing right now, him and Bryant are doing all of the Trapped in the Closet R. Kelly.
Oh yeah. Well, I know like Brian asked me about doing it and said like, what movie would you want to do? And I suggested Boys in the Hood because I love Boys in the Hood so much. But Brian was like, it's too mainstream of a movie. Like
they go really bad.
Like we like to have really bad. Like, and I'm like, yeah, Boys in the Hood's a great fucking movie, but there's so much shit in there that you could like make jokes about, like in my opinion.
No,
right?
that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very. There might be a way we can incorporate that in.
I mean, I would never walk in and be like, "This is how you guys do your podcast.
No,
this is how I think you should do it."
There's a way to do. We also had a series on reviews called Top Shelf, which is, and it was interesting. Corey, bring Top Shelf back. You've only done one fucking episode of it, but it's essentially Fight Club. So Fight Club is Corey's favorite movie. I had never seen it. So what we did was I watched it.
Oh, that's really cool.
And
like
then the next
introducing your
day-
favorite movie to somebody who's never seen it before. Yeah.
And so like that's Top Shelf.
That's really cool. I like
so
that
I think we're going to do a Clerks one of that at some point because I've never seen Clerks either. There's a lot of like really classic movies that I've yet to
just
see.
do me a favor. Stop it, Clerks. Don't. I
Don't do
mean,
any of the other
I
ones?
love Mallrats as the 90s kid in me, but
Chasing
stop.
Amy?
And I love Chasing Amy. Okay, stop it, Chasing Amy. Don't. Hey, man
Fucking
hasn't
love
made a
Kevin
good movie
Smith.
in years. Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
I don't even
do
know.
love
Are
Kevin
we
Smith,
actually
though.
recording, by the way?
We are recording.
Okay, good. I just like,
We
I'm
are-
talking into the microphone thinking like, am I actually recording or am I just having a good time?
I have two ideas.
Okay.
So I was thinking we could end the show because
Yeah.
you know what you're doing with comedy, whether or not you want to admit it. I have some jokes that I wrote,
Sure.
and I don't want you to go easy on me.
Okay.
with this. I was thinking I could read them, and you could tell me if I'm funny. No, I'm just-
I feel like I'm outside of an open mic trying to have a cigarette right now, and someone's like,
I know.
"This film is good."
When I was thinking of this, I'm like, he's gonna fucking hate this
No,
idea.
I'm game for anything.
Let me see if I can try to find some jokes that I wrote. I read these actually on. I read these on. We did an episode called the Notes episode where we went into the notes section of our phone.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes I go through that shit and I'm like, I have a note on there that just says, "Can we hack Miley Cyrus?" And I'm like, I have no idea what that means, but I don't want to delete it.
Can we hack Miley Cyrus? Where the fuck are my stand-ups? Hang on a second here.
Should be the top notes all time.
It
all
should
day,
be at the
every
top.
day.
I haven't done one in a while. Maybe if I search for a keyword. So I need to search for the word fuck.
Yeah, okay, sounds like you're searching for my set list. So,
There we go. Found it.
all right.
Okay. This is one that I love so much. But,
Okay.
we ready?
Yeah.
I gotta go into my
As ready I'm ever going to be.
What I think my stand-up voice
To
is.
either crush or support your dreams.
Okay. People think I'm so anti-couple, and that's not the case at all. I'm very super supportive. A lot of my good friends have girlfriends. I'm always there for their girlfriends when they need a girls' night out, and I'm there for their boyfriends when they fuck me.
See, I like that. I like the when they fuck me thing. You got about 3 sentences of setup that don't need to be there.
Okay.
But that's something that you learn many years down the road.
So I could take some words out of that one.
Your punchline is I tell everybody who writes jokes this. It's like, and there's a lot of backlash lately about writing jokes and about how like comedy is evolving, and like comedy never really evolves. Like it's set up punchline. So your punchline there is be there when they need to fuck
Boyfriends,
me,
fuck me.
right? So your setup should be at least one sentence before that. So the punchline's good,
Okay.
but it should be one sentence before it. You got like 2 or 3 sentences there. Cut that shit out, condense it a little bit, and the punchline's good enough.
See, because I've told that joke to some people. Because, see, I write this shit, and because I'm never going to do stand-up, but like, in my mind, these are like Facebook statuses that I would put out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And like these are
I write shit sometimes that's strictly just for Facebook or Twitter. It's never going to make stage.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I want to see if I can get a couple chuckles out of this online.
Exactly.
And it's never going to make stage. It's just there for that.
And that's the where's the plan B one?
Type in those keywords.
Oh, here's another one. Okay. Guys don't like to get me off. Just the other night I hooked up with a guy who teased me for an hour straight. Like, dude, it doesn't count as edging if you get up, leave, and drive home.
Yeah. That's ultimate edging. That's carrying it on like
Not
he's just in
everyone
his
knows what
car
edging is,
making it.
though.
Oh, I know
What's
edging.
edging?
Without edging, I'd have no sex life. I'm like, I don't need to please anybody else. I can make that shit fucking just go on and on and on.
Oh my God, it's just such an issue.
So people think edging is a bad thing, but I grew up showcase where you had to edge because you didn't know when them titties were coming, but you started when the Miramax logo rolled, which now that I'm thinking about it, not good. But the warning said there was going to be sex and sexuality in there, and you just kind of keep it going until you're ready to go. I've said too much.
There was none. Okay. At this point in being single, having a guy ask me to touch myself in front of him is so boring. Like, I do this all the time anyway. It's like going to Africa and seeing starving children and doing nothing about it.
Yeah, I like the imagery is very clearly new comic of starving children. Starving children. I think I'll be honest on that one. I think the premise is better than the punchline.
Okay.
I think I was trying
to think of something around that that's like, okay, you're asking me to touch myself in front of you. Like, this is useless. Like,
yeah,
this is
well, that's
useless...
the thing. That's where it's. I've never thought about asking a girl to do that. So now that guys are asking you to do that, makes me want to go like, what the fuck is in that guy's mindset? Like I can watch plenty of girls do that shit online. If you're there in person,
I feel like that's what I am to most
I want
men.
you to do a little more than just touch yourself.
It's this weird thing of like sexting has become my go-to lately.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I'm the go-to sexting girl.
You know what? Because I don't fuck and I don't date, like I was so unaware just how fucking, like, until I started doing comedy and other shit, just how fucking awful you guys got to put up with shit. You ever hear this thing on YouTube? It's called Creepy Text Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was watching that the other day. Like, some of it made me laugh my ass off. Like, my favorite line was do you like Imagine Dragons, then imagine dragging these balls across your face? Like, that to me, that's a good joke. I find it funny. But, like, I can't believe that you guys get dick pics. And, like...
Okay, I need
even
to
if I
dispel
took
that
the
myth.
best dick pic of my life, I don't know if I'd ever send it to anybody.
You can't get dick pics on Tinder.
Oh, you can't.
So this is
See,
a
women
myth.
have led me to believe that that's
No.
all it is.
Okay, so when people are saying that, they're probably referring to because here's the like, do you do a lot of Tinder? Are you on it?
I tried once and I fucked up royally. It was around Christmas time. And this girl had a picture of
some sad music over this.
This girl had a picture of herself wrapped in Christmas lights, and she matched me. And then I was like, I don't know what to say. And Travis was like, say something funny. So I wrote back, Christmas lights are real, bitch, huh? And I got unmatched very, very quickly.
You mean she was just wrapped in them, like around her?
Yeah, she had them around her body.
That's
like,
a little.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that.
Yeah, but So.
My picture is like, it's so funny because like your picture choice is so important. I have this picture of me in a hot dog costume underneath a sign that says hot buns here.
I've seen that picture.
It's a good picture.
Yeah.
But me putting that on my Tinder profile is just asking for guys being like, oh, I bet you like wieners.
But that's so different. That's why I'm so fucking different than other guys. Because if I see a girl who's got that as her Tinder picture, I'm like, oh, that's the girl who likes to joke around.
Yeah. and
I'm
that's why I
not
put
thinking
it up
like
there.
I'm not thinking anything about dicks. I'm thinking like, oh, she's fun. She's
Yeah.
like to have fun.
And that's and I like it when guys will message me and they'll just be like, so how many weird, and I think this bleep the names here, the guy last night, what, like, his first message to me was like, oh, how many weird messages do you get from guys about the hot dog costume? And I was like, fucking thank you for keeping it real, because that's what it is. A lot of dudes being like, you could use a wiener.
Yeah.
I bet you could use a good, you know what I mean? Like, it's really unoriginal.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting rid of the picture.
But you know what? Like, to those guys' credits, like that creepy text thing that I saw. One of my favorites was this guy who did this one-liner on this chick, and she was like, "Does that ever work?" And he wrote, 2 out of 3 times it does. ... I guess you're gonna be the 1 out of the 3rd that doesn't. And like, to me, I'm like, yeah. If you're, I always called the boom. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm like keeping all your time here, but like,
No.
I was called the Boomhauer technique. Did you ever watch King of the Hill back in the day?
Very briefly.
So there's an episode of King of the Hill where Bobby like is striking out with women, and Boomhauer's like the ladies' man of the series. So Hank asked Boomhauer to like take Bobby out, teach him how to like pick up women. And they go to a mall, and Boomhauer just turns around to everyone and goes, "You want to go on a date? No. You want to go on a date? No. You want to go on a date? No. You want to go on a date? No." And then Bobby's like, "Is that what you do?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a numbers game. I might ask 100 women out on a date. 2 of them say yes."
It's guys swiping right
and
all the time.
I think that's in Tinder. That's what it is. It's a Boomhauer game. It's like they'll say the most vulgar, fucked up shit, and 99% of the times women are like, "What the fuck, man?" And then there's that one girl that's just like, "Yeah, come over, let's
and
smash."
sometimes they just copy and paste messages, and that's just fucking lazy. And like, I don't know. It's just, it's a fucking tough.
I don't know how you
world.
guys deal with it, honestly.
It's a fucking tough. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times I forget the apps on my phone.
Yeah. Women, I don't like, honestly, like, you guys have to put up with so much shit from men that it blows my like, especially dating wise, blows my fucking mind. I don't understand how like you guys have to put up with that shit. Dick pics, choking during sex without talking about it.
I got
It's
slapped
like,
in the face during sex.
you go, what?
Like, he just flat out slapped me across the face.
Oh yeah, that's nothing that deserves a conversation beforehand. I'm like, maybe I'm just ultra polite. I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this thing right now. Is there anything I can do to enhance your experience? I feel like I'm the fucking dude at the Westin at the front desk. Is there anything we can do right now that enhances your experience of your vacation? Like, I'm like, trust me, it's fucked up.
Like, and it sucks because a lot of people are. I've been single for 6 years.
Yeah.
I've had 2 boyfriends my whole life, and it's like I don't feel like I'm asking for a lot when I think about what I want in a partner.
Yeah.
But it feels like I am these days. Like, every single fucking guy I match with or end up talking to on Tinder is in, like, they're either in a relationship and lying.
Yeah.
Or they're in an open relationship, or they're poly. And it's like all these things, and I'm just like, do single guys like I mean, I know that there's single guys out there, but it just seems like I can't seem to match up with them for whatever reason.
No, like
And it's very
I get it too. Like I feel like to me it's like I know why I'm single. Like and to
why?
me, I just like I want a certain thing from a relationship, and like I'm not willing to like compromise.
Yeah.
Which sounds really shitty because like who the fuck are you to like blah blah blah.
No, I don't think it's shitty at all.
But to me it's like I want someone who's got. Here's the thing. I'm not saying this about all women, but I've noticed through my friends who date a lot that the majority of women I've met, as soon as they start dating, they cease becoming an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And their whole life becomes about the fact that they date.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have interests anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do their own things. They don't hang out with their friends. I want a woman that's like, oh, you're going to go hang out with the boys tonight? Well, I'm going to go hang out with the girls tonight. That's what I want.
Independence.
Yeah, independent woman.
Hobbies.
Yeah.
Things outside of what the relationship is. Instagram pictures that aren't just fucking staged couples pictures, which drive me fucking crazy.
Like if I want to fucking go home and be like, I'm gonna slam some beer and watch Infinity War again. I don't want a girl that's like, well, I'll watch it again, but she doesn't really want to, but she feels like it's like this, like she's the one's like, oh, you're gonna stay up drinking, watch Infinity War? Well, then I'm either going back to my apartment or I'm gonna crash on the bed or I'm gonna go out with my friends. Like
100%.
that's what I want.
And you want to know what? In my last relationship, I was that girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like I was the girlfriend that was like, you're watching wrestling.
Yeah.
And you're getting, I dated someone who worked at a late night restaurant, and so his hours were a lot different than mine. He would come home, he would be drunk, he would be drinking. And in my mind, I was just like, why are you doing this? This is so immature. And it's just like, I just didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it was just him. And it's
then that's the thing, especially with a comic, it's like my lifestyle is so different.
You got to accept that
I'm out
shit.
at nights, every night.
Yeah.
When I go on tour, I'm on tour. The closest I ever had was this girl in Halifax, and like, well, I was like 2 years ago, and like we weren't dating or anything. We didn't even. Well, it's nothing serious, but like we were kind of flirty with each other, and like I went on tour, and like we texted like the entire time. She's like, "How was your day today? Did you do anything fun? How was the show?" Like, and to me, I'm like, that's the thing that I like. That's the level of relationship that would work for me.
You're doing your thing and you're getting that.
And then I go, "How was your job? How'd you, like?"
Right.
I got to date a chick that at least works nights, or at least understands that I'm working nights. There's no other way around it.
I think that's definitely probably a challenge amongst comedians and performers, like the scheduling thing. Because if you're dating someone who has to get up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, there's also that problem too. It's like, I mean, it's just my speculation, but you can say this to a woman as much as you want, as you're blue in the face. Like, I am not, and I'm not saying this because I'm not like what I look like, but I'm a guy who's I look like Brad Pitt. I'm a guy who's fundamentally against the idea of cheating. I think it's like shitty to do to somebody. If you don't want to be with them, break up and fuck somebody else. Like, that's
100%.
That's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a touring act in any sort of entertainment, there's always going to be that thing you have to express to the girl, like, I might be provinces away, but I swear to God, like, the hottest piece of ass could throw herself at me tonight.
Right.
And that's just not how I feel as an individual.
Right.
Like
there's constant temptation.
Well, I mean, not for me,
right?
But I see it for other comics.
Right. Yeah. Fuck, I can't imagine. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
And that got to be hard on the woman who's like back in the home province, being like, well, I gotta trust you, and I do want to trust you.
Oftentimes nowadays, I think I'm like, I kind of would like a long distance boyfriend because I'm busy anyway.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
I mean, like, for you, is there like obviously you have your job, and now you're doing this podcast, and you obviously care a crazy amount about. You have your own interests. You have things that you're into.
This is my boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
This podcast has become where my energy goes.
So if you ever start dating a guy who is like, I wish you would cut down on the podcast, you'd be like, fuck you, man.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I've been at this for almost a year and a half. I'm not stopping anytime soon.
And you enjoy doing it. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I just want to be with somebody who likes what they're fucking doing and enjoys their own shit. Because and that's not even a relationship. I don't want to be friends with people who don't have their own shit and have interesting shit going on in their life.
It's boring.
Like, I'm not saying you could be a fucking carpenter, but if you're fucking passionate about carpentry, and I could sit there and you go, man, when I built this fucking table for this person or this fucking kitchen cabinets, I'd be like, I don't understand a goddamn word you're saying. But the fact that you give a fuck,
right,
is all that matters.
It's all that matters.
It's all that matters. Projects. Yeah.
And you could be passionate about what you do as a day job. Mm-hmm. Lucky bitches.
A lot of people do. I don't understand those people that have the 9-to-5 jobs but feel super passionate about it, but I'm fucking grateful that they exist.
I used to work at a call center, and you would see people, and like, it was the worst fucking experience ever.
Yeah.
Like, sucked my soul in my body. But you would see kind of older people who were there, and they were called lifers because this is just what they've accepted.
Yeah.
They're going to work that job probably until they retire. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking at them going, it's not me. Like, no. I'm not meant for this. This is my right now job, but I'm not meant to do this systematic fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. You got a family, maybe. Like, maybe you need that structure. You've chosen to have a family, so that's your choice.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's for me. I don't think it's my path to do something like that.
Yeah. I remember, I've been told very many people this. It's not like super embarrassing, but it's like a little embarrassing.
That's right.
As I remember, like, you know, I talked about people before that always like try out different things because they feel like they're supposed to do something special. But like when I was a little kid, like my mom was dating this guy in Bridgewater, and he had this garage, like this big garage, like not like 2-car garage. We're talking like a mechanics type of like giant, and he'd have like army trucks in, he'd work on them and shit. But when you open the fucking doors, it felt like a stage. Like it felt like a curtain coming up from the stage.
Cool.
And like the concrete felt like the stage like edge. And I just remember I used to spend like days out there like playing music and like dancing around and singing to it, like as if I was like performing the song.
Yeah.
So there's been something about like that
Performing.
that draws you performance that drew me to.
I did that too.
Yeah.
When we were building a deck, like on our house, and I used to go out and do the Spice Girls thing.
Yeah.
Like get a hairbrush.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
I think it's just in some people to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that you like, I mean, now as a comic, I walk into places and go, oh, you could do a show here. Yeah. This could be, if you put this here and you had the audience, that'd be a show there.
Because
like,
there's an aspect to what you're doing. Because you're a comic, but you're also obviously like you host shows.
Yeah.
There's event planning in that. Like you look at spaces and you say,
yeah, okay,
like this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
These are all the details that are going to, like, that's a talent that not everyone has.
Oh yeah, that, I mean,
you know,
the booking and putting together shows part is the most stressful part of the whole industry.
I can imagine.
But mostly too, it's like because like when I book paid shows and I put my friends on them,
right?
I want them to have a good time,
right?
It's not just about a payday. I want them to walk away going, I had fun doing that set tonight. Exactly. And that's very hard sometimes, very stressful.
And it's also, there's just certain people that are meant to be encouraging to others. Yeah. People who are meant to pump other people up and say, like, you got that thing? Like, you're kind of good at that. Do that. And be the fire to those people. You know what I mean?
I love doing that to other comics, man. Yeah. I love like one of my really close friends over the last couple of years is Martin Edwards. And I fucking love that man. Like his totally different style of comedy than what I do.
Right.
And, but I think he's hilarious. But I also love his dedication. Like, he co-hosts Gus with me. I do one week, he does the next week. And I really like him, man. I think he's very funny. He's very dedicated. And I like getting a chance I could do. Like, one of the first road gigs he got to do was because I asked, like, can I bring somebody with? Like there you go. You know, it was like, I love shit like that. I love being able to help back and like
you're a connector.
Yeah. I love being able to look at a comic and be like, you're fucking funny. You just need the right, because people have done that shit for me. Like, the only reason I get to tour Ontario is because my buddy Andrew Evans, like the absolute comedy clubs I play, he's been playing there for years, and he vouched for me. That's the only fucking reason I get that shit.
So fucking talk to people who are doing the thing that you want to do.
If I could, like, if I could give any advice to anybody that's really seriously
give some advice.
Comedy,
let's do it.
Just fucking do it.
Yeah,
you gotta just do it. But before you start doing it, and I know it's hard to find out what is going on in your city, even if you Google it, sometimes it's hard as fuck to find out. Go to shows first.
Yeah.
One of the things I tell all new people who've never done stand-up before, like, go see a show, introduce yourself, talk to the person who runs it,
get out there,
because it makes them seem, instead of you just messaging them on Facebook, can I get stage time, it makes it feel like you're putting a little more initiative into it by showing up first.
You're getting the vibes of the room, and then
you just go and you do it, and you keep doing it, and you keep working on it. Don't worry about writing new shit all the time. I fell into that trap when I first started. You really are trying to learn how to be comfortable on stage.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
And you keep doing that shit, and just like, but my biggest piece of advice is, like, a lot of new comics are doing this lately, and I don't understand it, is they think that a year in means that they should be headlining.
Right.
And it's like,
not so much.
No, man, you got to pay your dues. Like Brian Thompson, like Brian and I joke about this all the time now, but about how when I started, there was the back of the room at the club, and you didn't talk to the back of the room at the club. You waited for the back of the room to talk to you. Sign of respect.
Right.
And Thompson was what I consider part of that back room. And he goes, we didn't see it that way at all. I don't know why you're like I don't know, man. We had this like speak when spoken to mentality. And I think that's super important for new comics to have. Is speak when spoken to. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be afraid of the other comics, but like, if you've done 2 sets and you try going up to a guy who's been doing it for 9 years and try to tell him how to do the business, fuck you.
No,
you keep it's okay to have those thoughts, but keep them inside. Keep them inside.
Keep them buried down deep.
So like that, the best piece of advice I give anybody that ever wants to do with comedy, and this is hard for me, and I struggle with this all the time. Treat comedy like a marriage. It's the best piece of advice given to me. It's not my advice.
Yeah.
If you're having a rough time in your marriage, you don't go on Facebook and start shit talking your wife or your husband or your fiance.
Yeah.
You deal with your own shit personally and privately.
That's so true.
Treat comedy the same way. Don't make these long social media posts about, well, this person showed up at a mic and did this and that and that. Keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah, really.
Deal with it interpersonally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Some good advice here.
Anyway, I'm drunk and fucking...
I'm going to say one more joke of mine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I fucking got way
I
away
saved
from
the
this.
best one for last, okay?
Okay.
And I don't want you to go easy on me here, okay? Like...
I'm too drunk to go easy on you.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
So, okay, let me just read this. A lot of women talk about doing the Plan B thing. It seems like a common thing. I've never done it. Been single for 6 years, and I'm not on the pill, so it's risky sometimes, but I play it safe. I'm saving Plan B for a relationship.
Okay, here's my first real criticism.
Yes, bro.
As a man, I'm not entirely sure what Plan B is. Is Plan B abortion?
It's the pill you take when you think that you've...
Or is Plan B the morning after?
Yeah, it's morning after pill. Should I change it to morning after pill?
Change it to morning after pill.
Yeah?
Because I think when I hear Plan B, what I think of is the places, especially in the States, where it's like that center you go to, where it's got like different options, either take the morning after pill or wait and get the abortion. Like
it's the thrift shop on Goddard Street.
Or yeah. So yeah. Okay, yeah, that place too. But like,
I don't want to go to that thrift shop until I'm in a relationship.
Yeah. I think the term Plan B is confusing. I think you go with...
the whole idea around the joke is that I have a thing for cream pies.
Oh.
But I want...
You got to make that a little more evident too.
Like, I want to save that for a relationship. So there was a point in this joke that I wanted to put this on Facebook.
Okay, here's the ultimate thing I tell every person who's working on a joke. I give you advice, but I'm going to give you advice that sounds like how I would tell the fucking joke, which is not necessarily how you should tell the fucking joke.
How would you tell it?
Because as soon as you mentioned cream pie, I'm just picturing all this.
I should say I'm saving cream pies for a relationship.
No, I just picture like I love getting cummed in. I love cum in that pussy.
But I'm not on the pill, so it's risky. So like, what I'm saying is that I don't want to do that with a one night stand. I think you might it. The pill is something you do in advance. The morning after pill is something you can do on a whim. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're not planning it out enough to like I don't know like who I'm gonna let just come inside of me. Like I don't want to plan it out enough, but I want to know that other option's there that I can go, there we go. Plan B is only $36.
And now that to me opens up a whole another avenue of what else is only $36. like, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's cheap enough for me to be like,
But that's what I mean. Like,
there's a limit.
You can get 18 fucking Miller Genuine Draft for $36, or you could take a loan in your cunt and then for $36. like, it's all equal.
I'm gonna spit this out. I don't want to spit out my beer. Take a load. I think that might need to be our hashtag.
Load in your cunt.
Load in your cunt.
And if you get any feedback, it's all me.
This is what we're closing out the show with, people. Right. If you listen to this whole thing
which I hope you
And
did.
we've went on a journey. Let me tell you.
It was interesting.
Load in your cunt hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag load in
And I
your
hate
cunt.
saying that word, but I just
I know.
said it.
Next Boys Club podcast, that hashtag is going to show up for sure.
Load in your cunt.
Load in your cunt. So there'll
Load
be
in
two.
your cunt.
There'll be 2 posts.
I mean, I
Yours-
could do a whole episode about cream pies. It's my one of my favorite things fucking ever.
I keep seeing like a Hostess snack when you say cream pie. Like something's got chocolate with a little bit of vanilla icing in there.
Every
The
time
fat
I
guy
see
in me is
it
like,
in the grocery store.
Can I have 3 of those? It's like a half Joe Louis. It's like, why do I buy the half Joe Louis when I know I'm just gonna eat 2 of them anyway? Why am I not buying the full Joe Louis? It just makes sense. And there's more grams in the full Joe Louis. Anyways.
Do you know what I grew up with? Flakies. Do you remember Flakies?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you remember those?
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, I grew up. So much sugar.
Load in your cunt though. That's
Load.
going up.
That's how we're ending the episode.
This has been a lot of fun.
This was so fun. Thank you so much, dude, for
Oh
coming
man, I
on.
had a blast. I'm fucking loaded.
Fucking fantastic,
It
dude.
was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
And like, I'm hoping that you'll come back on. I mean, I'm gonna get all the
I
other boys
love
on.
talking. I love hearing my own voice.
It makes
I'll
me
be
happy.
back every week. That's
My whole thing is now finding people who I can call on when I need them.
I have no plans and an open calendar. So.
And an open liver.
Actually, like I don't know when this is gonna air, but I can do some plugs just in case people want to check some shit out.
This should be airing. Let me tell you the exact date, actually. So it's going to be probably the first. Actually, it should be the week right before I do my live stream, September 7th.
Okay.
So where are you playing?
So
what are you doing?
Well, nowhere. No. But I will plug the Boys Club Comedy Podcast. You can find that on iTunes, Google Play. I got to figure out Spotify. I didn't know that was the thing you could do. But we're on Instagram, Boys Club Pod.
Mm-hmm.
Check out Travis Lindsay is going to be recording an album in the city in October, November.
Amazing.
And Travis to me is one of the funniest fucking people I've ever heard in my entire life. I know Dan's got some dates coming out, so check out Dan Hendricken online.
Yeah.
Check out me online. I got a couple dates coming up, but they're all going to be already happened by then. We're doing some fundraiser for a comic who lost his house, which is I'm hoping we can make some good money on that.
Awesome.
And a weekend at Yucks here next weekend.
What's your Instagram?
Mine is AV Comedy 2049.
So if you follow him on there,
Yeah.
you can keep up to date on shows.
Yeah, and perfect. And yeah.
follow the podcast because they talk about the shows they do on the
Yeah,
podcast.
for sure. Yeah.
Follow that fucking podcast because it's fantastic and I love it.
Thank you so much.
And I wouldn't have reached out if I hadn't listened to the podcast. To be
that means
completely
a lot.
honest,
That means a lot to me.
it's I know the work that goes into it, and fucking love it.
Yeah, if you're not offended by shit, like listen to it.
I say it in my intro music. Do
Yeah.
not take this product if you are easily offended or hypersensitive. Yeah.
Or if shit offends you, just turn it off and walk away.
And just turn off and walk away, and don't do this whole like let's ban this thing. No. Just fucking turn it off and walk away. It's not for you.
That's the biggest thing we don't do in this society anymore. If you don't like something, it's not for me.
Walk away. It's not for me. I'm not into it. Other people are. Fuck it. That's a good.
Anyway, thank you so much for having me on.
Hashtag load in your cunt.
I was like, I'm not gonna say hose, bitch, or cunt. And I think I said all 3 words on the show. I made a hashtag out of it.
It was amazing. And it's tradition. You need to ring the bell.
Oh, I love to ring the bell. Fuck yeah.
Ring that bell. Oh, I love it.
I love it. I love the bell.
It feels good.
Oh, it does. I want one.
Oh, you're still here? Well, thanks so much for listening to the Intoxicated Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you find podcasts and vote for Intoxicated in the Best of Halifax Reader's Choice Awards in the News and Media category for Best Podcast. You can cast your vote at bestofhalifax.com. Thanks again for listening.